like 5 or 6 prompts, as you guys saw. I send them out to anybody directly. I don't like putting them into, like, I put it in Tyler's channel, and I appreciate you, by the way, Tyler, for letting me do that, buddy. But I prefer to do it in private so that way you guys don't get to see who stands where. I do 3v3 debates and 1v1 debates. The first Saturday is 1v1s, third Saturday is 3v3. And the 3v3s are kind of fun. First of all, I don't see anybody else do them. Second of all, it gives, like I put it in Tyler's channel, and I appreciate the ability to kind of work with more skilled debaters in prep and delivery. And also it's cool because I can make strange bedfellows. Like for instance, I've been really hard trying to cook up an authoritarian debate because the people that I see, I've got MAGA folks and I've got anarchists who are equally authoritarian, right? I've got commies and I've got MAGAs who are going to stay on the same team. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been trying to be on this authoritarian debate for a minute now,
I know.
and I swear and I'm like, I don't know who else is also saying the same thing I'm saying when it comes to this, but I doubt there's many.
So the honest truth, the reason that one kind of got hung up was because one of our regulars specifically asked for a 1v1 debate on that prompt against somebody who's never debated here before. I knew him from the Bosses stream back in the day. So I kind of like took it off the group prompt for a minute, but then they keep not actually following through. So fuck it. I'm putting it back onto the group prompts. But anyway, so yeah, so basically the way I do it is I go through and I have a shit long spreadsheet of all of the prompts and all of the people's positions. I then look for the most interesting and the most well balanced of those prompts so that I can kind of schedule it from there. And then I let them know individually and make sure that they're okay with that prompt and that competitor. And then once I've got the confirmations and everything, that's when I send out the finalized, this is what's going to be on the schedule. So that's kind of how it works. I know it's a long-winded and kind of complicated, but it never fails. I will have a couple of super fucking cool ones that I'm really psyched about that fall through. For instance, this week, Circa, down there in the bottom right, one of the prompts that you guys, who is it? Let me look. We still have it on tonight. Lonzo and Indian Jesus's debate, actually. The value is determined by demand, not labor. So I had two people. One said yes, but both. The other said no, because neither. And I'm like, holy fuck, that's great. Like, I would love to see a neither versus both. That's dope, right? And then the other person, not Circa, flaked out. Like, and when I mean like flaked out, I mean like flaked out hard. Like after I sent him the offer, or I could, before I even could send the offer, he like unfriended, left the server. Like, I don't understand why. So whatever, people are just weird. So yeah, like I said, is you could just say no, bro. Like, I don't get it, but whatever. Anyways, so yeah. So again, like I said, we're pretty chill here. The debates are as good faith or bad faith as you want to make them. It's your choice. We err towards good faith just because we prefer it that way. As you guys saw from the structure, I sent both of you guys a format structure. You can also see above my head here in the thingy that actually I should probably make it so you can see it a little better. There you go. The timer so that you guys don't have to like guess where you're at in your time and such. We go 3-minute AF open. You don't have to use the whole thing. We go 2-minute cross from neg. And again, this is your chance to either point out stupid ass shit they said in their opening or set up traps for your own opening. That's the way we kind of envision it. But we've had some people who just use that because they don't have enough time in their 3 minutes to do their opening. We've had some people who just didn't understand what a fucking cross-examination was, so they just like looked at me. So what you do with that time is up to you. It's your time. But just know that the judges do tend to judge based on how you control your cross-examination. Then it goes back to neg. Neg does their open, then goes back to AF for their cross. Then we have a 10-minute open period of conversation. I, as the moderator, will add 5 minutes to it if I feel like it's productive or if the judges agree, like if the judges are like, let this cook. But usually I just kind of make the decision myself. After that, we go to the closes. Now, during that, and I'm talking to you guys, audience, as well. The other cool thing about that is the judges during the open conversation can send me questions to the debaters that they feel should have been engaged with, or that they want to hear for their own. Like put this to them and see how they react. So if they do that, then I'm going to give you that as well. You're going to do your close, and then at the beginning of each debate, we have two judges, and we also have a straw poll. Everybody out there in the chat, and this is the other benefit of the shared chat, is everybody out there in chat. And for those of you who are streaming in YouTube, if you want to just copy paste it or something, I can, you know what? I'll put it into the Discord chat so that you can copy paste from there. Or no, I sent you guys the links.
Perfect.
You guys already have the links. So you guys can put that in your chat, and we do that in advance of the debate, and then we do it after the debate. And the whole point there is so that we can see which side swayed the most, right? It's not just a popularity contest. It's who was the most rhetorically persuasive. And then those are the three votes, two judges and the audience sway. So that was a lot of talking. Do you have any other questions?
Man,
it's less scary than he made it sound.
Is it?
That is true. Well, yeah, maybe, or maybe it's not. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Maybe
honestly,
it's more scary.
I just usually,
You just black out.
Yeah, really. It just turns into like a debate. I say things, I don't know what they mean, and then the debate ends, and they're like, "You won." And I'm like,
"Sounds good."
I did it.
Sounds good. I did it. All right. So, is everybody in the shared? They are. We are still waiting for Lethe. He should be here any minute now. The one that you just dropped in there, Circa. Is it Circa, Circar? Which do you go by?
Your mic's muted, buddy.
Good answer, Circa.
I thought you were saying Zerka when he was off cam, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, that kind of sounds like a frilly cocktail, doesn't it? So is it Circa or Circar?
Circa is what it is, but that account is really old and I can't access anymore. So.
Circa, I have a question for you. Are you in any way connected to the Chinese Communist Party? I just find it suspicious that you're able to not only not work, but be here conversating 24/7 in that chat about different things. And I just find that's weird because the only other person who I've known to do that seem to have been a Russian asset. So can we get an explanation on that one?
Nice. Can I offer an explanation? Because if you extrapolate and you do a little deductive reasoning from the things that he has said, he has already mentioned the fact that he had a fairly successful business fairly early. So I'm guessing that he probably had a pretty decent nest egg. He said he doesn't anymore, but he also probably works from home or does something remote. Is that correct, Circa?
No, none of that's correct.
No?
You have that. You have that tenant media money. Is that correct?
My business did well. My business did well in like 2018, 2019, and then I lost everything. So that's definitely not it.
There's a guitar on the back of that wall there. So
now he's turning tricks and slinging yayo.
He's fucking good at playing.
I don't understand if he's good at playing or not. I'm just saying he said everything. And I'm just trying to make sure that
I can just type faster, I guess, man. I'll just tell you.
He built different.
Doomer, did you say you've heard him play?
Yeah, he plays on stream. He's good.
Oh, no shit. Right on. Well, shit.
Thank you.
Then in that case, we'll have to get you hooked up with Grumple and do some of his karaoke nights.
Oh, Lord.
Do you sing as well? I'll take that as a no.
No.
Okay, cheers. So it looks like we're still waiting on Lethe. Fuck me, dude. Where you at, bro? There's always
Is there like some backup if like no one, because he's my debate partner?
Yeah, no.
What am I supposed to do?
No,
Okay.
he will 100%.
You automatically win.
Yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
default.
There we go.
Exactly right.
That's the best kind of win, is a technical win, you know.
Yeah,
So
I got one of those over somebody a little while ago.
Oh, I think
There you go. Oh, fuck. You did get a technical win on me.
Got him.
Tell us more.
I had to reset.
And actually,
my
Indian Jesus, would you do us a favor and just tell us a little bit about yourself as well? Confluence already kind of introduced himself, but
Yeah, sure. So this is my co-host Morty, the Overlord, and I am Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, and I do long-form reactions, kind of where we'll take like a podcast or a debate, speech, something like that, and try to break it down so that we can be better at talking with people we disagree with, whether it's in a debate format like this or just a regular conversation. That is the goal. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So come on through. All are welcome, and I love to be challenged. And I don't know anybody who is more engaged with their chat than I am.
Oh well, that's I'm gonna have to
Yeah, that's a bold
now.
statement, homie. Are you on Twitch or are you on YouTube?
YouTube, the Indian Jesus official.
Cheers.
So you've never seen a person make a 30-minute video 5 hours long because they spent that entire 5 hours debating one person in their chat over something that did not matter the whole time.
Brother, that's another Tuesday for me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I get
right.
derailed. I get one guide so easily. It's not even funny.
So it's funny. It's funny too because like you'll see occasionally on the share chat, or if you guys don't get the share chat, but I actually had to make a Streamlabs like auto pop that says, "Hey, look, usually I swear to God I talk to you guys, but when I've got guests, I don't want to be that dick." You know what I mean? So it's like I have to explain to people because when I was doing full-time days, yeah, I would literally sit here for 8 fucking hours just yelling at people in chat. Like, and part of it was. And this is one of my favorite things to do to this day is to do Steelman myself. Like I will literally debate myself in chat. Like I will take both sides of a position and tear myself apart.
That's a good idea.
Thank you. Use it. Yeah, use it. Go ahead, bro. Another thing that I used to do is 5 minutes for $5. As long as it's TOS, you give me any fucking subject and I will give you a passionate 5 minutes on it. Whether that's why peanut butter and jelly is the single best meal. I've done that one. Or why toilet paper is a threat to the environment. I won't do anything that's not TOS, so don't fucking do anything about goddamn the mustache. But yeah, so like I said, that was my stock and trade, other than just arguing with chat. So, but you actually said the sweetest song I've ever heard, which is helping people figure out how to fucking communicate with people you disagree with. Praise the cheeses, because that's what the fuck we should all be doing here. So yes, that's right, and that's also so. After each debate, the judges will give some feedback. Like I said, our two judges, Doomer Patrol Pilot, Doomer Pilled Patriot, that's it, and Let's Chief here, are two of the most solid debaters I've ever seen, and so they often will just give kind of some feedback and just like they're not like dicks about it. They're not criticizing you and they're not telling you that they wish you wore more makeup or something. They're just going to tell you, hey, maybe if you tried this or if you went at it like this, et cetera, et cetera. But on the same token, it's not like we're condescending about it. So you don't feel like you don't feel like you got to say, bro, I've been doing this for a fucking decade. You know what I mean? So anyways, good God almighty, Lethe. He has got to be almost here.
I think he's afraid of me. That's the only thing I can get from that, you know?
Could be.
He's just nervous. We've talked on Grid before, and, you know, maybe I just left such a good impression. He's like, holy shit, that Confluence guy. Can't fuck with him.
Could be.
That name for that 5 minutes for $5 is a crazy name, and I think that that could be improved for sure.
You have
feelings
about
it was by design, sir.
Oh,
my innuendos are not ever accidental. So, now, Circa, is that the first prompt that you're straw polling in there for me, buddy? Now, Circa, is that the first? Circa keeps fucking walking away. Oh, he's gonna show us something. He's gonna show us something. You know what? I'm okay with this. I'm okay with a quick musical interlude. It's the third one. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna start dropping them all in there then. Thank you for just selling yourself.
I'm a pretty good singer, sir. You got, bro. I'll sing for you. You do this, man.
Now that I would look forward to hearing, except for the fact that everybody else is probably going to leave. Boom.
And are still
one
in
more. Boom. So once again, Jesus and Confluence, I'm going to suggest to both of y'all, if you don't mind, drop those straw poll links into your chats as well. If you don't mind doing all three, not being like Circa and just thinking about yourself, that would be super awesome. Just because it gives everybody the chance to kind of, you know what I mean? And the more numbers we get, the better the percentage matters, et cetera, et cetera. So
I did someone else's first. What do you mean?
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm sorry. I take back the mean shit I said. Anyways, so yeah, so you know what? I'm not gonna make everybody fucking wait too much longer. If he's not here by, my dude. Oh wait, I thought you were pulling out. The fucking the box for us, dude.
Yeah.
You're not gonna tickle the strings. What the shit?
I only pull out my box.
I wanted
when people are throwing money.
I wanted the musical interlude that I was promised.
I know.
What the fuck?
We were stoked. Like we were here for it.
You can't edge us like that, brother.
Oh man.
I was putting the thing back to cover the truss rod. I had to tighten it.
Okay.
So
Ready.
get some rid of some relief on it.
I have to try now. My cousin's watching this debate.
I am actually, hello, Lonzo's cousin. I am serious though, Circa. I don't know if you've gotten to meet Grumple, nicest fucking asshole there is. He does karaoke nights, and while you may not be a singer, he is always about people who can actually play instruments and shit as well. So perhaps we can duet sometime, buddy. That'd be swell.
Yeah.
Greatest description of Grumple I've ever heard.
Say what?
Greatest description of Grumple I've ever heard.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. I hate the fact of how much I like him. I really want to dislike the dude. I feel like I should be able to dislike that dude, but I can't. He's just too goddamn cool. And one of these days, I'm going to get him onto one of these as well. He is just the hardest cat to herd I have found. So, tangentially related to Grumple. Say what? What was that?
I was just reading what Maida said. It looks like a jarhead version of me.
What is? Oh,
Tangentially.
What the fuck is that?
That's Dota.
Wait, what?
Oh, okay. I was about to say it looks like wannabe League.
No,
So I
League
wasn't
wants to be Dota.
And it kind of is.
That's exactly what it is.
No, it's the opposite.
Okay, so
Dota came first.
I don't know if you see. Yeah, no. Hold on.
My degeneracy is better than
Warcraft 3 came first, bro.
That was.
And then somebody decided to make a sub game off of theirs.
Yeah. Well, Dota.
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
subgame.
Okay, yeah. I know. Again,
That's how
I see the
DayZ
sparkle.
was
I played the
born.
real thing.
That's how DayZ was born too.
They all look the same, but at least Mike looks new.
Lethe said that he is almost home. By the way, he just messaged me.
Good.
Okay.
He did say that 10 minutes ago, but cool, whatever.
Almost his relative,
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well,
value.
you know what? Yeah.
Speaking of value.
This isn't as bad as the Pocahontas issue. So, because that was the worst.
40 minutes.
It was almost an hour actually. It was almost an hour that she rolled in late. So, there is no reason for us to have to wait though, because again, we have enough people. Lonzo and Indian Jesus are actually the first two to go, and Lethe can just slide up in here whenever he's ready. So that said, Lonzo, did you use the last 45 minutes of us fucking jacking our jaws to get some prep done?
Hell no.
Cool. All right, easy W for you, Jesus.
He was too busy making sure both sides of his overalls were buttoned.
Wait, I don't use buttons on my overalls.
Are they inside out? Because no, okay, but backwards. Because inside out is wiggity wiggity whack. You're wearing hunting overalls, man.
Like camo overalls.
Where'd he go?
Kind of crazy.
I'm impressed.
Guys, I'm not an opening statement guy. I don't like this stuff.
No, that's okay. It's okay. That you do, like I said, you do not have to feel obligated to use all of your time ever, anything like that. So you just do what you can. And as I said, it's never lost on me that the way we do things is not the way that a lot of people do things. So we do not have too much.
Don't
do
feel
not
like
have
you
too
have
much
to
shade.
soapbox. Just say some shit.
Yeah, just say some shit. Say some shit. That's it. That's how we debate.
Don't ever use AI. I never use AI. My brain is all the AI I need.
Who the fuck was it that used AI the other day? Who was it? Somebody did that shit. Who was that?
Probably Casey seems to use AI 24/7. If I'm being honest with you.
Maybe it was Casey. You're right.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I used ChatGPT to make sure that I got the time zone correct because I always mess up time zones.
I do that too. I'm so bad with time zones.
Yeah, Peter Boghossian on. for it was like 3 p.m. and I like woke up early and it's like, oh, this isn't for another 6 hours, dude. What?
You talked to Bogosian?
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Good job.
Every time I cover anything with him or he's around or anything, I accept you as the one true Indian Jesus. Makes you smile every time.
Wow.
Wait. Who?
Dr. Peter Bogosian. He was one of the people that worked with James Lindsay before Gatwick to put in all those like woke academic papers that were complete BS, and they still got passed and everything.
Yeah, about like dogs being gay and stuff.
Whoa. Did I just hear
missing a few
woke
details there.
academic papers? That sounds like we're already falling into the trash can with our conversation.
No, he was
What's happening
he
here?
was actually a tenured professor, and he took advantage of that. And
Yeah, he showed how it's
Articles
BS
on
because he wrote
journals
BS
that-
papers.
I know, and they trusted him. And then once they went back to go look at them, they realized they were fucking not good. But
But it's insane that they got published. I think that's
What
the
did you
point.
say his first name was again?
they've been retracted.
Peter.
Peter. So I actually, I thought you were talking about Eric Bogosian. I'm a theater kid, and he's kind of like a god amongst men for theater kids. So I thought that you knew the Eric Bogosian, and I was about to fucking
He also
get all
published
like
in
fan
a
giggly.
field that doesn't really have a lot of people that do peer review. But once it got around to it, it was obvious it was fake.
You said it was about what now?
He had a bunch of different articles that were posted in journals that are like gender studies ones. Not many people
Gender
have actually-
studies. You
It would
said
be,
that's right
it'd be
about
like
you.
it'd be like
Oh,
gender
hold on.
studies with like dogs, and if like the dogs understand the gender
Yeah,
dynamics,
what
and it was like
about-
nonsense, and they
The one
got
about
published.
people.
Yeah, and they
More
did
like
that on
Asian
purpose to
culture.
prove how broken the peer review
Yeah.
system was. I know
Yeah.
exactly
Not
the
because
fucking
it was
story you're
fixed
talking about.
very quickly.
And his
case.
the thing most people know him for is his street epistemology thing, where he'll go and everybody stands on neutral, and he'll give a prompt, and then everybody can do slightly agree to disagree, agree to disagree, strongly agree to disagree, and then talk about that. I don't know if you've seen any of those.
It did
For whatever
work
reason,
because
Destiny loves
all
to do
of those
those. so he's
articles
one
were
of them.
taken down. All of them,
Gotcha.
So
Well, yeah, after Peter revealed it, they were taken down. I just want to say that.
no,
It was after
someone
he said.
finally got around to peer reviewing something that's
Well, no.
over fucking peer review. It's like a gender.
A lot of them were up until Peter revealed that they were fraudulent articles.
Again,
I just want to point that out.
It's not like Nature or something like that, so it takes a while for someone to get to it.
Still bad journals, though. If
He
you
also
think about
lost
it.
his capability of, doing articles and stuff anymore. He just took
Well,
advantage
yeah.
of the fact.
What a
that
martyr.
he could- I mean, to be fair, it's not like it was taken seriously, right? You guys looked at the articles?
Most people.
No, but
don't
if you're
take
if
gender
you're
theory
able to
seriously.
get something published, that's problematic already if it's fucking nonsense, right? Like before it doesn't matter about how long it takes. You shouldn't be published unless someone's gone through your work.
What journal was
Yeah,
it?
I've looked at like almost all of them, and they're absurd, and that's what gives me pause.
field
They
in which
like
they're looking
mark
at, right?
when
Do you remember which
something
one it
is published from, that has been peer reviewed versus when it hasn't. Like there's stuff that's like preliminary research that gets published, and it's just like, hey, this hasn't been peer reviewed yet, so just it's not super
took a bit.
astonishing that some of that stuff gets published. But
It is though. It is. If it's in a reputable journal. If it's in like if it's in a nonsense journal, I agree.
Like if it's like, hey, this has an asterisk, it's not peer reviewed. Like if people want to
Even if
take
it's
and
a
run
bigger
with that and act like it was like something it's not.
No, but
But I
if
think
it's a
we can
big
all
journal,
agree.
they should take some due diligence to make sure it
think we
makes
can all
sense,
agree.
right? Like a cursory reading tells you it doesn't make
It
sense.
did.
Wasn't
Got
one of
around
them
to
Mein
Well, then they
Kampf?
shouldn't have allowed it to be published.
Yeah.
I mean, just obviously on its
Wasn't
face.
one of them Mein
Read
Kampf?
first, then publish.
And then they took the words.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
changed it?
Read before publishing. What IJ said.
Again, it's like gender studies, bro. There's like 5 people.
Gender studies is a pretty big field.
Right,
To
it's
my
just crazy.
chagrin.
I only really just processed what the question actually is, and I think I have a really good argument already. So
But you do remember you're on the negative side, right?
possibly.
Did you read some Karl Marx?
He's just stalling for Alonzo to get
Oh, don't worry, I've read
Yeah,
it.
He really is. He really is.
I'm dyslexic, so
Hey,
it's not
welcome
really,
in, Nader. Welcome in. Again,
Didn't
Nader,
really
I
talk.
have invited in the past. If you are interested in jumping into these in the future, just let me know. And this goes for anybody out there in the chat. Anybody who wants to participate in these in the future, reach out to me through Discord. Let me give you that. and let me know you're interested, and I will send you guys the prompts every time. Oh, fuck. Is my goddamn thing broken, motherfucker?
No, you just missed an eye.
Oh.
So they were accepted, by the way, right? It's not like they were
It's bro.
fully reviewed.
Okay, now it is broken.
Maybe we can
So
move on.
fucking janky.
Game Boy said it.
Yeah, actually, now that I know you guys have that there, I didn't know even. Or it never even occurred to me to use that as a prompt. But shit, we're gonna have to. We might have to build a prompt around the peer review system. And so Doomer asked what journal it was that it was published in.
A few different ones. I think 7 of the 20 were rejected right away, and then the other ones were pending. And once an editor got around to viewing them, obviously they were fucking fake. And then he lost. He just took advantage of the fact that he was a tenured professor. Because he's a tenured professor with experience.
Real quick, what's the name of the your YouTube channel?
Oh,
Or are you just hosting this?
the _ horseradish.
The underscore.
No, that's just the symbol _, buddy.
Yeah,
Sorry. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's try that again now. Boom, boom, Discord, boom. What the literal fuck? I quit. I don't even care.
Go show some love.
I mean, yep. I couldn't get people into my Discord for anything because I can't ever remember to refresh the link. So it's always expired.
No, it's
Good link.
it's goddamn setup.
I have one. I did the forever link and I have it there, so I just copy and paste the whole join the Discord thing.
Yeah.
You have a forever? What is it? What?
So when you go to invite, we'll walk you through it. It says invite people, and then under the link, it says your link expires in 7 days. Edit invite link. Then you can have it expire after 7 days or never. And you can also have a max number of uses. So if you want to use it for like, and then you can generate a link. And then that link is permanently, you do.
Oh
works
wow,
forever.
that's excellent.
Hey, appreciate the sub, man. That is mighty kind. All right, so it looks like everybody is here. I'm glad you could finally join us, Leafy. You know, man, I think I mentioned to you that it was 2 hours earlier, like 3 times. But that's okay. I still knew at least one person was going to miss that.
I had no idea, was not paying attention. I just ordered food. I looked and I saw the alert. I'm like, wait a minute, why is everybody in the room? Oh no.
Thank you, Lethy. Thank you, Lethy, because I needed it.
You gave him the minutes he needed to be able to take this ass whooping with his feet under him. So that said, everybody out there in chat, let's fucking go. We are there. We've got everybody here. Do you guys see that link right there in chat? Please click that link and make a vote while you still can. We're going to do this before and after every single debate tonight. Your votes actually do matter. You guys are the third judge. But we're not doing it based on a popularity contest. It's not just who you think's prettier, because I'm pretty sure Jesus is going to win that one. We're just going to go based on who sways the audience most. So the percentage shift is who actually wins from the audience. Now, we do the audience last, so just like in reality, your vote only matters sometimes. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our judges here. We have got Doomer Pilled Patriot in the green screen all the way to the left of me. We've got Let's Chief, the faceless wonder here in the center, and then of course me, your moderator, the Horseradish. We are going to be debating 3 different topics tonight. Each debate is going to be structured. They're going to be a modified Lincoln Douglas format with both openings, closings, and cross-examinations, with a 10 to 15 minute open discussion time in the middle. Thank you, whoever it was that did that. That was super nice in my ear holes. And finally, and it took me right out of my goddamn ramble. Thanks again for that.
Final part.
We're going to go ahead and open this up right now to the first debate, which is going to be value is determined by demand, not labor. Now, a lesson that I have learned is that I do need to give at least some sort of an understanding of what that prompt means, because there's been people who didn't understand prompts in the past and it just went sideways and off track and it was ugly. So, value, the net worth of something, is determined by demand, how much people want it, not labor, how much effort went into it. I feel like it's pretty simple, but I still want to just lay that general groundwork. Now, is everybody ready out there in the audience? Have you guys voted? And debaters, do you both have your awesome openings ready?
Put it down right behind me.
Right down behind you. That's what I wanted to hear. All right, we got 3 minutes on the clock. Everybody, value is determined by demand, not labor. Get those last minute votes in. One last time. Boom. And Jesus, are you ready?
Ready?
One sec.
All right. I'm hearing a little bit of a feedback, a little comeback of my own voice. I don't know who that's coming through on, but it's not awesome. Test. Test. Oh, it's gone. Thank you. Whoever fixed it. Nope, I don't either.
You didn't put a neither button for me. What is this?
A neither button for what?
For the.
Oh yeah, because you're not debating this one, man. No, but you can go with the undecided. You can go with the undecided. Again, I'm very sorry, Circa, that you didn't get to do this debate. I was very excited about it, but I'm just as excited to hear these two go at it. So, Jesus, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, cheers. 3 minutes on the clock. Go ahead, sir.
So the prompt tonight that I will be affirming is that value is determined by demand and not by labor. Labor, of course, is a factor in the cost of something, or as I would put it in economic terms, the value, but not nearly as much as demand. Unless these terms are taken outside of the economic realm, I'm not sure how my opponent could disagree. I am certainly not an expert in economics or dialectics or any of that stuff, as I'm sure will come up. So if I ask for clarification, I'm not playing stupid. I really just don't understand and would like to. I genuinely just don't see how one could take the opposing position. But hey, maybe I'll learn something that will change my worldview tonight. I'm always open. I anticipate that my opponent will use some kind of collectivist, communist, socialist-coded jargon and theories to obfuscate the clear fundamental aspect of free trade, that value is what someone is willing to pay for. Where I think this debate would be most interesting is in a discussion of what value actually is, as opposed to some theoretical debate on capitalism versus socialism or some other economic structure. Value is defined by the regard that something is held to importance, or, again, as I would put it in monetary worth. If that is in fact what we are discussing, then I think it's rather clear that there's no other position than to agree that demand or desire reflecting immediate subjective preferences determines the value of a good or service to a much greater degree than labor, defined as the human effort, both physical, mental, and time used to produce goods or services. If labor were a determinant factor in value, then we would necessarily have to see goods and service of equal quality cost more or less simply for taking longer or shorter to offer the same thing. If I had to build a house and I was going to be paid based on the result, then I would want to put in as little effort as I could to achieve my standard of quality. I could easily drag my feet and pretend that I'm putting in more labor, but that raises an important question. If labor is what determines value, we need a mechanism to determine what the worth is of labor itself. This means we would need to account for all things that are in labor, all things in labor, all the way down to the joules on each time I use my hammer to hit a nail, minus the wind resistance going in the same direction, and the gravity, or maybe the wind is blowing in the other direction and require more labor. And on windy days, I get paid more than sunny days. If this is not what my opponent means, then I think we are in for a good discussion.
Cheers. Landed it perfectly. So I hear somebody talking in the background from somewhere, and it's most definitely not coming from here. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I definitely hear it. So that said, if you could just tell whoever it is to shut the fuck up, that'd be super dope. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 minutes on the clock for you, Lonzo, to do your cross-examination. Are you ready for that, sir?
Sorry, one second. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm sorry.
All right, it's your background noise, isn't it, Lonzo?
No, it's not. I'm just trying to, because I was listening to. Go ahead. Let's go.
That's okay. Yep. No. As long as you're ready, 2 minutes on the clock. Go ahead with your cross-examination.
All right. Okay, you said that you don't want this to be a discussion about labor being. I mean that, but whatever okay. What I don't understand is what you said is that you want this to be a discussion about how labor and demand affects the market for the value of something. You through the market, how it affects the value of something, but you don't want this to be some communist discussion of what value is, which is a weird take to have, since value, which you just said through the market, does not only pertain to currency. So I don't like this can still step away from that. So I want you to explain to me what you mean by the value as in through the market. Is it purely just currency?
Are we going back and forth? There's just 2 minutes.
Yes, he's asking you questions.
Oh, my bad.
I'm asking you a question.
Okay,
Cross-exam.
I was taking notes. So the idea about bringing up socialism and capitalism is that I don't think I'm not saying we can't mention those things. I'm just saying if we're going to say capitalism is better or socialism is better, I don't think
that's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what do you think value is? Is it just a currency? Is it of currency, or is it of such as manpower, such as things that are provided to people? Would you say that if I had bread that required me to labor in the fields for a year and I were to try and provide that to you, would you say that that is less valuable to something that you have? Let it be something like medicine, because the demand for that medicine.
No, so those are both answered within the same thing. That's why I'm talking in the context of value. I don't understand how we would have this conversation in not the context of economics. And all I was saying is that if we are talking about economic value, we're talking about labor in the market, and we're talking about demand, then I don't see how my position could be incorrect.
All right, cool. Perfect. 2 minutes is over. 3 minutes is on the clock for your opening. That's all right. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry,
3 minutes is on the clock for you. Are you ready for your time, Lonzo? Whoever it is that has somebody stretching packing tape in the background, please go knock it out of their fucking hands. Thank you. All right, 3 minutes is on the clock. You ready, Lonzo?
Hold up. I really don't hear that myself. So is that something?
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, the chat.
Is that like
the
a stream
chat
you have
saying
open in the background?
What?
Y'all didn't hear somebody just laugh. A lady laugh.
No, that's probably a browser you have open or something.
Yeah, I'm not streaming anymore, so it's not coming from my end. And I was yelling penis earlier, so you.
I think I know what's doing. I think I know what's doing is the stream together is probably not muted on my end.
Oh, somebody doesn't have the stream together muted. Oh my
You
god, that'll do it.
fucking
Yep.
asshole.
Okay, appreciate you, Lethe. Yeah, everybody. I've got. Well, no, that doesn't even make sense though, because I've got mine. Oh, it fixed it. Oh, praise it, brother.
It might have been
Thank
me.
you very much.
It might have been me. I don't think it was, but it might have been.
Nope. It was Lethe. He fixed it. Thank you very much, good sir. You're the best. All right, back to it. 3 minutes on the clock for you, Lonzo. Are you ready, sir?
Okay, so when it comes to determining value of labor and the value of goods within this country, one thing that's pretty obvious is that labor, in large part, determines the value for every individual who works within this country. I mean, not for every individual, for a majority of individuals who work in this country, especially blue-collar jobs. If you have a job or something that you're working on, such as a construction site, and your labor is what you're being paid for, they don't pay you that off of the demand for it, especially if you're working for the government and you're doing government sites. That's not paid off of demand for it because it has to be done. It's just how our economy works within this country, and it's actually how most economies work, because there are certain things that have to be done regardless of the demand for it. Things that you could apply this to within our economy that do require demand over labor would be such as the food that we produce within this country, but that is part of an issue in the first place. That what the question really is who gives it that value. Because if you're saying value to me for food is based off of the food itself being made. It doesn't matter the labor, nor does it matter the demand, such as if a person needs it in another country or something. Okay, it's what matters. I'm really trying. 1 second, let me think for a second. I'm sorry, man. I had a point. Okay, listen, when it comes to demand, my point here is that when it comes to demand, for example, right now within this country, I believe we waste around 2/3 of the food that we produce each year. Now, in order for us to accomplish that, and in order for the food to hold its value, we waste that 2/3 in order for us to drive up the demand, which means that the value of it is only determined by that demand that we've created whenever the labor is still being outputted. The reality is that to us as the people, the value of that demand does not matter, because that 2/3 of that food would be just as valuable to us, even if you removed that demand in the first place. So the value of demand being what sets the value of things in this country can only work if you create that demand, and then by that demand you inflate the price. Like companies, for even with gas, they do this where they will say that there's an issue with how much gas that they can produce, which means that they can't produce enough for people, which means that they can inflate the price, which in reality isn't true, but the demand is their excuse for how they can inflate the price. God damn it, I can't.
And time. All right. God damn it, I can't was our closing statement there. All right, so good stuff. 2 minutes is on the clock for you now, Jesus. If you would like to use that to pick apart anything or direct the cross-examination, go ahead.
Yeah, so you were saying that for blue collar work, that labor, they get paid on the labor, but they get paid by the hour on the demand for that labor. They only get paid because there's somebody who has a demand for things to be built. So it doesn't matter if you work construction, you just go in a field and start building things. Nobody's going to pay you for that.
Wait. No. First off, I was relating that to government jobs, which does not require that there's an actual demand for that to be built by. Now, first, they build things constantly, which is any government builds things constantly, regardless of actual demand for those things. They just do it so that there's a job that's being presented. I mean, that's quite literally done all the time.
I mean, yeah, corruption exists.
But,
that doesn't change
but also
the
demand. But you're also saying that the demand of labor is an example of how labor is not value, but demand is.
I never said. I explicitly said in my opening that labor is an important part of this. It's just not as much as the demand.
So your argument here is that it is demand because demand for labor is a demand. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's your argument.
Yeah, it's not the work itself. It's the fact that somebody is willing to give money to somebody for that work. Like I said, if you're doing that same exact job, pick an 8-hour day of a construction worker, take it and do that exact work at a different place. The foreman or the company or whoever's not paying that dude, because they don't have a demand for the labor in a field. They have a demand for the labor where they're doing the labor. So you said before, I don't know exactly what it was, but you said something would be the same value if you remove the demand. So this is where we get into what I was talking about, the economics. Because there's such thing as sentimental value, but then I don't know how you put demand and labor into that.
Sorry, this is...
I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and just put the 10 minutes on. Nope, we're going to go ahead and put the 10 minutes on the clock. That was the end of the cross-examination. I feel like he asked you a good question, give you an extra second to think about it. 10 minutes is on the clock. Y'all just go ahead and go at it.
Yeah, so I mean, it seemed like you were catching your thoughts. I feel like I put it out.
I'm genuine. I'm Radish. I'm sorry. It might be. I'm still taking medication, but I don't know why. But I have not been able to get a single proper thought through my head this whole conversation. I don't know what's going on. Like, it is bad.
Okay.
Sorry that you're feeling that way.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
I
was about to say, for what it's worth, I'm going to stop the clock for a second. I'm going to do something a bit unorthodox. For everybody who doesn't know, Lonzo had his tonsils taken out like 4 days ago. So that said, he is indeed under painkillers and such. Not that anybody gets a buy or an excuse. We're gonna mock you later for it, but I'm gonna let you sit there. It looks like Circa, because he was prepped for this. Jesus, are you okay with Circa stepping in and white knighting for Lonzo just to keep the action going? Lonzo, are you okay with bending the knee and letting Circa come in and
as long
sword
as I don't
fight
need
for
another
you?
opening statement.
Nope, you're good.
All
It's
right.
just going to pick up where it's at. Lonzo, you're good? All right,
It's
Circa,
all right,
go
yeah.
after it.
Are you sure, Alonzo?
Yeah, you good,
Do
bro.
it.
Feel better, bro.
Just so I
Yep.
don't misrepresent you. Instead of an
fine.
opening statement, Indian, can you describe to me in like one sentence again, just so I don't misrepresent you? Exactly.
Value
why...
is what people are willing to pay for something.
Okay, so value has to have like some transactional element to it.
Yes.
Okay. And the prompt, though, right? Prompt is values determined by demand, not labor, right? So you're affirming that demand is the reason. What does that have to do with money?
Lot to do with money. The whole economy is based on people having demands for things, and that demand subjectively creates value, and then people trade money for the things that they want. So that's a trade, and it's inherently an unequal trade because, I don't know if we're going to go
So without
into.
money, value would not exist, or
No, that's what we use to represent value. You go back to bartering, and if I want to
that doesn't
trade,
mean
let's
that
say you're dying of thirst, and I got this cup of water, and I say I'll trade you for that guitar behind you. Now, if you weren't
we
thirsty,
never had a
then the
barter
value of
economy,
this cup
bro.
of water is a lot
There-
lower.
there's
But
literally
if you're
no
dying of
evidence to
thirst,
suggest-
if you're dying of thirst, you would not take a cup of water for that guitar?
That's not how older societies worked. We never had bartering.
I didn't ask if that's how older societies work. I asked if you would take the cup of water and trade me for that guitar if you were going to die without the water.
You're presupposing the idea that barter economies existed, which comes from Adam Smith, and
I'm not.
you
I'm
said trade,
asking you a
right?
question. I have water. The hypothetical. Let's take out everything else and start fresh. You are about to die of thirst. I have water to give you.
Yep.
The exchange, the trade, is that you give me the guitar on the wall.
Why are
behind
you assuming there's a
Would
trade?
hold on. Would you think that your subjective value in that water is much higher because you're dying of thirst if you weren't dying of thirst? Well, I mean, unless you want to trade me a bottle of water for the guitar right now, I'm down.
It's fine. I don't know how that relates to the prompt. I don't know what subjective, whatever you just said, has to do with how demand.
Because value is
becomes value.
subjective. Value is inherently subjective, and so whatever someone decides they are willing to pay for something, or whatever.
Okay, so let's go.
if we
Let's go
take it-
back to the prompt. Are you thinking of demand in an economic way, or are you thinking of like a personal will?
Yes. No, in an
So,
economic way.
What you
So
said
like I
is
said,
not
if
an
there-
economic definition of demand. What are you talking about?
Okay, correct me. Like I said, I'm not playing stupid here. I'm just saying value
What is my
is the demand
subjective-
people have for it. So if there's a
Buying
demand
the
for
stuff has to
something,
do with the economic definition of demand.
I gave you a colloquial definition for how I'm using demand in my opening. I'm gonna read it again for you. But that's what I'm talking about. So if you want to get into an argument about semantics, I said a desire reflecting immediate
So what
subjective
if
preferences.
instead
That is what I
we
am saying.
didn't-
That
what
is
if
how
we did
I am
not
defining
trade for
demand.
things?
So if you have a better definition of demand, I'm willing to hear it.
I mean, you can open up an econ textbook and go to chapter
I could.
1 and probably get one. Yeah.
But I'm kind of already winning this debate with my own definition. So why would I?
Fine. Sure. Now,
Just
if
give me the
without this
definition that you want to
trade-
use, dude.
Now, without this trade going on, what are you talking about, right? Do you think that value could not exist?
No, I do not.
What
think
if it was just dead?
What if it was dead?
As in, there's no barter, there's no trade. Do you think value can't exist then, or what?
I don't know. Good question. What does that have to do with labor and demand?
Value is determined by demand, so.
Uh-huh.
I'm
So
pretty
is there a
sure-
question?
No, my answer to this actually is undecided, right? I would say neither. I think value is, again, I wrote it on his, but this is going to be determined by an economic doctrine, and then the bounded properties as well as the parameters that make that doctrine work are going to denote and prescribe value. So it is subjective in a way, because there were
Yep,
early
that's what I said in my
economists who
opening.
thought that it came from the dirt. No, you said that it comes from demand itself. That is a property.
No, I said demand is subjective. what you're willing to pay, that was why I used the water guitar thing, because at this very moment you're not willing to trade a bottle of water for that guitar, correct? Because you value the guitar more than the value of the water. But if you're about to die, the value of the water subjectively to you goes up. What am I wrong about?
You're wrong about why
you're very frustrated with me, and I don't understand why. Like I said, I'm not trying to play stupid. I genuinely don't understand what you're upset about.
I'm asking you, if we didn't have demand, could you not have value?
And I answered you, and I said, no, that's not the case. We could have value.
So, did you say yes to this prompt or no to this prompt?
I'm the affirmative. That value is
So you
determined
say
by
yes,
demand,
value is
not
determined
by
by
labor.
demand. You just said that it's...
So your
doesn't have to
position
be
is
determined-
that it's determined by labor. So do you have anything to say about that? How labor determines value? That would be a good place to start.
It's determined by either.
Okay, say more.
I think it's good.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I mean,
You're
kind of
done, I'm good.
lost my prompt, right?
Sure. Well, so we'll go ahead and close it there. This one kind of fell apart from the start, but that's okay. We still got closings and judges. If they have any questions for this weird ass debate, please send them to me directly. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and put 3 minutes on the clock. I enjoyed that more than I probably had any right to. So with that said, 3 minutes to you first, Jesus. Do you want to go ahead and put a cherry on it? You don't have to put the whole 3 minutes in. We didn't use the whole fucking 10 minutes. So here we go. You ready?
Ready.
All right, go ahead, bud.
So I think very clearly, as I stated in my opening, it's a fundamental principle that what people want or how much people want things determines the price of it. And so it doesn't matter if you make something really hard, if you work really hard. If people don't want it, then the demand
You
is
think value
is
means
no.
price, man?
Dude, this is
In
just
this case-
closing, sir.
Yeah. So in this case, I was saying specifically that we're talking about an economic circumstance, and that if we were the last what was the last words? Let's read it again. If this is not, where is it? If this is not what my opponent means, then I think we are here for an interesting debate. So I gave you the parameters that we're talking about economics. I defined value, I defined demand, I defined labor, and I gave you my position. And you said absolutely nothing about how labor is a determinant factor in demand or value. Sorry. And I can see my time.
And that's it? All right. Cool. Well,
This
then
is
we're going to
the
go ahead and put 3 minutes back on the clock. Once again, for everybody, just in case I wasn't clear about this, during openings and closings, it is only the person who is opening and closing. Everybody else should. So, 3 minutes is on the clock for you, Circa. If you would be so kind, sir. This gives you the chance to do the opening you didn't really do. Go ahead and start when you're ready.
Oh, for the labor response there?
Yes.
Alright, 3 minutes. I don't have any written, unfortunately.
Well, you know what? Then in that case, since we're doing a tag team here, Lonzo, do you feel like you can do a closing now that you listen to that?
Yeah, you have Lonzo come.
Lonzo?
Nope.
If not, no pressure. Okay, cool. Circa, give us 3 minutes off the top of your head. You obviously know the material. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just going to close with my sentence. I said value. For this prompt, value is essentially going to be prescribed and denoted by whatever economic doctrine is going to be creating the parameters and the properties for it. So if we go from like Marx's labor theory of value and we try to only determine value through that, it's going to have a lot of holes and a lot of problems if you look at it from different ways. Economics is not exactly axiomatic that way. We can look at Ricardo's. He doesn't really have a well thought out theory of value like Marx did, at least as shown in Das Kapital, but he does have his own as well. We also have the neoclassical school, which has their own version of it, which is based on marginal productivity, which has a lot of holes as well, and it conveniently for Indian deals with price. But my closing statement is just that value is not going to be determined by demand or labor. It's going to be determined by whatever economic doctrine is trying to denote value in it, using properties like demand or labor, but that's not going to be what inherently determines value.
Okay, and we'll kill that. It looks like we do actually maybe have a question. No. Looks like the judges want me to go ahead and take this out back and put a bullet in it. So we're going to go ahead and call it there. I'm dropping the new vote because I know everybody was swayed by that intriguing conversation. I enjoyed it thoroughly, regardless of how crazy it turned out to be. But I'm going to give the judges a couple of seconds here to process their notes, which I'm sure they have tons of. And I'm going to give it a few minutes for everybody in chat to go ahead and vote. And to everybody out there who does not have a stream together, go ahead and grab that and throw the new one right there and throw it into your chat as well so that everybody can vote on that. Judges, do you guys... Yes, sir.
Sorry, real quick. I'm not seeing it on your chat. Can you just throw it in the voice channel chat here?
Yes, I will, sir. 100%.
Thank you.
Boom. Boom, boom. There you go. That is going to be the one for this after prompt. And I want to say again, Lonzo, I understand, man. You did take this under less than desirable circumstances, but I'm definitely glad you still made it in tonight. We definitely enjoy having you every time, and even if you feel like you're under the weather, I'm glad you tried to pull through and you tried to do what you could there. So, and Circa, I also want to say thank you for being willing to step up to the plate and be a pinch hitter and do what you could to try to dig him back out of that hole. So, what are you about to say, Lethe? Or I'm sorry, Lonzo?
It is crazy that this is the first time my cousin has showed up to a debate, and whole
that's when
time,
you trip and fall on your face.
The whole time, I can usually, even if I don't know what I'm fully arguing, I can at least think. I just blink. It's like blank. Like I'm still trying to figure out what the discussion is. To be honest with you.
Yep. I understand, sir. We all have bad days. Like I said, it's no big deal. Drugs do terrible
Even
things.
the economists
don't do drugs,
who make
kids.
these models, Lonzo, don't even know what value.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Lonzo needed to do more drugs. That's how he ended up in this predicament.
Is that what it was?
Lack
All
of
right, cheers to
resistance.
that.
If he
All
would
right,
have just
yeah,
had
when you're
one
feeling
more,
better,
it would have
we'll-
taken him to the next peak.
Yeah, no, I will make sure and set you two up again next time for a debate. I will find another prompt for the two of y'all, and this time Lonzo will actually do his homework. But with that said, I'm going to go to Let's Chief first. Let's Chief, you look like you are ready to go, sir. Where did you score this? And any feedback or comments or thoughts?
I'm gonna have to give this one to Lutch, the Indian Jesus. The only point I don't have a ton of notes as you predicted, obviously, for this one. It seemed like, Lutch pointed out that there was no affirmative argument made for why value is determined by labor, like at all. He openly put it out there for it to be knocked down. He was not afraid of it, and it's just whether it was drugs or a lack of desire to make that argument because that's not your position. It just never happened. The only thing I thought was interesting was when jobs programs got mentioned, Lutch referred to that as corruption, which I thought was kind of like an interesting framing, but it didn't affect my scoring in the debate. But I'm going to give this one to Lutch. Good job.
Cheers to that. And DPP, Mr. Patriot, do you have your judgment ready, sir?
Yeah, I had pretty much similar thinking to Let's Chief. Also gave it to the Indian Jesus up here. I was following the other side. I agree for the most part. I just think that the prompt was more kind of engaged with on his side. So that's kind of where I went with that. I did think that the stuff that Lonzo brought up about like the services that are just needed, but that it's not necessarily. I think that what he was trying to frame it is not necessarily like needed by demand, but needed by necessity or something along those lines. I give him points on that a bit because I think that's a valid kind of point there. But outside of that, Circa, I think, stepped in pretty well. I agree with most of his takes on the prompt. Again, I just think Indian Jesus up here kind of engaged with it a little more.
Hey, cheers. So that is so far 2 votes for Jesus. That means no matter what the audience thinks, just like in our presidential elections, you have already won. With that said, just so you know, Patriot, I think he was trying to phrase it as the demand for labor, right? So that I actually wrote that note down as well. The way that Lonzo had done the demand for labor thing, I was really hoping he was going to fucking take that home because that was really cool. But other than that, Jesus, yeah, dude, absolute fucking fire. I see, just like Jesus, you walked on water, buddy. Circa, like I said, you absolutely came in here and you did what you could there. But yeah, in order for your argument to have really worked, I think you would have needed to do an opening to set up the framework for you to be able to climb a ladder, right? And you kind of didn't have that opportunity. So, but again, it was a one-off. Shit happens. It is what it is. I will take a quick glance, and everybody should be able to see what the votes are themselves. But let's take a look at the results. The after results, it looks like 71% for yes, 28% for no. And then for the first attempt, it was that one. And the results for that one was 83%. So the no won the audience persuasion. Cheers to that. So at least the audience likes you guys down there on the bottom row. So it wasn't just a shutout. Great job to both of you guys. Jesus, I'd love to have you hang out as long as you want to. If you do need to go, I understand. Same thing for you, Lonzo. Love to have you hang out. We do the after party afterwards where we all get to yell at each other and stuff. But if you guys do have other shit going on or whatever, no harm, no feelings, I'll understand. So
yeah, I do got to run, but I really do appreciate you this whole format. I appreciate you having me, and
cheers.
Definitely down to,
really quick, Lush, are you aware of the theory that Jesus actually did live in India in the lost years?
I have not heard that. No.
And that he ended up dying in France.
How did you meet
whole
John
other
Smith
story.
in America in 1900, though? Come on.
My fault, bro. I'll give you a better debate next time.
There you go. Yeah, I guarantee you will be getting invites every time, sir, and I will hope that you respond. So I appreciate you hanging out, man. And cheers.
Thank you,
and your opponent will maybe be less on drugs. We'll see.
All right.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
There you go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our second prompt, everybody. Second prompt. Let me go ahead and get that into everybody's chat first so that you guys can start voting on this one. Control copy, control paste, enter. Audience, please go ahead and grab that. I'm going to put this into this chat as well. Control V, boom. So if those of you who are not with me in Twitch can also send it out. This time we have another newcomer. We are going to have Mr. Confluence debating a regular Lethe on prison inmates and should they be allowed to vote. Now, this was one of the ones that I have sent out multiple times to my great frustration because everybody wants to put some sort of parameters or caveats on it. And the fact of the matter is, the ones that they're trying to put into it are intentionally left out, which is to say that the question here is not, should prison inmates be allowed to vote after they get out of prison? Or should certain prison inmates with only certain kinds of crimes be allowed to vote? The question we are asking is, should people who are interned in a prison be allowed to vote while they are still in prison? Or should you being in prison take away your civil right to vote? So on the affirmative here, saying that prison inmates should still be allowed to vote, we have Lethe Water Kai right above my head, and arguing against that prompt to my immediate right, we have Confluence. Now we have 3 minutes on the clock. One more time for everybody. Hit that vote while you still can. And Lethe, are you at least somewhat prepared?
No, not in the slightest. Why would I prepare for these things?
All right, good shit. 3 minutes is on the clock for you, Lethe. Are you ready to go, sir?
Yeah, we can go ahead and get this started.
All right, kick it off.
So I'm going to start off with a quote from one of my favorite characters in a video game. If the penalty for a crime is a fine, then that law only exists for the lower class. Currently, here in America, we have the largest prison population of any country on the entire planet. Not per capita, but just by sheer numbers alone. We have more prison inmates than China and India. Why is this going to be the case that so many people are going to be allowed to be disenfranchised from being able to put forward their thoughts on how the American project should work? So with this in mind, you can have a jail that will farm out inmates to go work at McDonald's as prison labor but they can't be trusted to vote. Why is this allowed? Apparently, they're good enough to be able to work a counter in front of the public and actually do customer service, but they aren't allowed to vote. So why should 2% of the population not be able to make their voice heard in America just because of the way the prison system works? And if you want to look back at the early 1970s when Nixon's war on drugs began, that is when the prison population began to boom. So with this being the case, it's also disenfranchising specifically minority voters at most. This is a form of slavery in a lot of ways, not chattel slavery, but a different form of slavery, ruining our country. I'll end there.
Right. Good stuff. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock for you, Mr. Confluence. I think you understand what a cross-examination is. Use this time how you want, poke holes, or set yourself up. 2 minutes. Are you ready, Confluence?
I am ready, yeah.
Get after him, boss.
Okay, I thought I expected the opening was going to be longer, but that's totally cool. I guess you said they have the largest prison population. I don't know if you said that, but the U.S. doesn't. They don't, to be clear. But they do have a very large incarcerated population. But I guess what I would ask is, don't you think that effect would be larger if we let a blocking vote of that magnitude vote? If there is like 1.5 to 2 million prisoners that are incarcerated in like actual prisons, you would agree that's going to cause a massive sway if you get those people to vote.
Yes, why should these people not be allowed to have their vote heard? And what country has a larger prison population than the United States?
I'm just saying the United States doesn't have the largest one. You could fact check me on that later, but they do not.
So who does? If they don't,
I don't. I just know they don't. There's a lot of despot countries that have like a lot of people in prison. It's like on a per capita level, it's not on an absolute level.
I said not per capita. I said by sheer number. I said specifically not per capita.
Okay. So I want to briefly, just to clarify, you said 2%. What do you said 2%. So are you talking, and I think when you brought up the McDonald's thing, I think you're talking about what Horseradish said in the beginning. If someone's working at McDonald's, they're not in a prison. So I feel like all those points, you're talking about like once like a felon status, but they're out of prison, which is emphatically not what we're discussing, correct? Just so we kind of set the parameters. Well, you said how can they work at McDonald's but they can't vote? I'm saying no one who's in a prison. If you're in a prison, you're not working at McDonald's, right? So you're talking about them being.
I'm sorry, you must not understand what I'm talking about. There are
then by all means,
they have prison labor, and that prison labor detail takes these people, buses them from the prison to go work at McDonald's for the day as their prison labor, and then brings them back to the prison.
Okay. So you don't. Okay, so you don't mean post prison.
Nope. That's it for the cross examination. I'm gonna go ahead and put 3 minutes on the clock for you, Confluence. This is your time to shine, sir. Nobody else will speak. Are you ready to go?
I am ready.
All right, 3 minutes on the clock. Go, sir.
Okay, my position is that prisoners should not be allowed to vote. To be sentenced to a prison, you're generally doing a felony or other serious crime and have therefore been incarcerated. In the vast majority of states, with few exceptions, namely Maine and Vermont, and I think the District of Columbia, you can't vote while in prison. This draws its roots from the second clause of the 14th Amendment, where it has the relevant exceptions to who is entitled to vote, except for participation in rebellion or other crimes. We see this being maintained by Supreme Court rulings like Richardson versus Ramirez in 1974, where it was ruled that disenfranchising someone because of felony doesn't violate the Equal Protections Clause, specifically because of the carve-out I just read in the 14th Amendment. So there's a strong legal basis, both from the Constitution that has been confirmed through stare decisis, and this allows each state to make its own decision on whether prisoners can vote. Most states have decided no, and I think there's a good reason for that. If you've engaged in a certain act, you lose certain rights. You've broken the social and legal contract you have as a citizen, and therefore you don't enjoy all the rights that normal, not incarcerated people have. Voting ultimately is tied to civic responsibility, and by committing a serious crime, being placed in prison, you are no longer participating in society. And while there are, of course, human rights issues that are still upheld in prison, obviously you do temporarily lose a lot of rights. You can't read the books that you want. You don't have the same right to privacy. You can't exactly leave whenever you want. That's kind of the whole point of prison. You don't have the right to bear arms, etc. And you lose these rights both for practical considerations and more ethical considerations. Someone who has committed a felony and is thus in prison should not be participating or should not be partaking in affecting the legal system. It's one thing if the question were should felons who have been released from prison be allowed to vote after they've served their time. But in prison, you definitionally have not yet paid your debt to society. So why would you get a say in participating in who runs that society on really any level of government? There's also the issue of a concentrated voter base coming together. The U.S. has one of the highest incarceration rates in the world, where there currently is somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million people incarcerated in a prison. If these 2 million people could suddenly vote, they would likely have an incredible negative outcome on polls, especially if they formed a voting bloc. Obviously, being in prison is a special interest of prisoners, and it's hard not to see how a prison vote would be something politicians would vie for. This is clearly not what we want. We put someone in prison to remove their power to hurt and influence the outside world. We don't want them to ensemble together and have political power and be wine and dined by judicial reform promises that could be negative for society at large. So in summary, I think there's a perfectly constitutional basis for people in prison not voting that has precedent to back it up. I think it's fine that the states have the power to make their own decisions on the matter, but the vast majority of states have agreed with me that prisoners shouldn't vote. I think it's totally normal to lose a number of rights while in prison. I think voting is a civic duty based on a civic contract, one that someone in prison has broke, and I think the outcomes of prison voting blocks would be harmful for society at large.
With 10 seconds left on the clock. Pretty fire there. Lethe, if you are ready, you got 2 minutes on the clock to direct questioning. Are you ready to go, sir?
Yeah, sure. So you're saying it would be a concentrated voter base? Are you saying that all these prisoners would agree on what they're voting on, and this would create so much of a problem within the voter base that, it just can't be done?
I think it would cause a voting block, because obviously if you're in prison, a big concern of yourself is being in prison. So yes, you would lend it yourself to being a single issue voter, and then you'd be wined and dined, as I said, by people who want to buy that prison vote, because 2 million people is no small amount of people. I mean, as we both agree, large amount of incarcerated people in the US. So that would be a significant amount of people voting against society's best interest, possibly. And I would say that is a huge risk to bear.
What in the name of Indian Jesus would be the voting block, and what would these people be voting for? Like, what thing is going to bring all these prisoners together to be wine and dine? How do you wine and dine a prisoner?
Wait, by promising them clemency, by talking about lesser sentencing, by promising pardons. I mean, you could have all that. You could say, oh, well, anyone who's in prison for X act is going to be pardoned if I'm in office. I mean, I could come up with uncountable amount of hypotheticals that would be like absolutely maladaptive for society. But if you're in prison and you're like so disenfranchised in like all the senses of the word, you're just like fully and not in a good place, you will vote based on that. You will definitionally be a single issue voter, because that's the most pressing thing that's pressing you in that moment, right?
So they're going to put like $10 in everybody's commissary books, and then they're going to get what they want. That sounds.
Well, that's not what I said. I said things like promising pardons, things like promising clemency, lesser sentencing times, better bail reform. Like, there's a lot of issues that we could come up with.
That's already happening anyway. I have no worry about that, because literally the president.
And you want 2 million people to vote on that, though.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why shouldn't you?
Sorry, it's your cross-examination.
Well, yeah. Why shouldn't you be able to vote in your best interest?
Because you've broken the societal contract. And so you are not voting in society's best interest. If you're in prison, you have committed a felony, and you're voting in your own best interest because you're probably in prison, and you've kind of lost temporarily the ability to vote for society's best interest, because you don't have society's best interest in mind.
You're assuming every single felon is guilty.
I'll just keep rolling. I got the 10 going.
Okay, we got the 10 going.
Okay,
so
there we go.
So there are plenty of people that are disenfranchised in voting, because people that are being held in prison also don't get their votes count, because the system doesn't work in favor of them. So that's more
right, and it shouldn't.
Voting.
Right, and that's how it ought to be. And I want to hear an argument on why you think it should be otherwise. Because most states agree with me. Wait, I thought you said they're in prison.
Yes, they're in prison. They're being.
Wait, so are you saying like people who are like innocent, like they like had a false like innocence project shit? Like, what are we talking about? Because
are you not innocent until you get a guilty verdict?
If you're in prison, then you have a guilty verdict. You don't go to you go to jail. You go to like a temporary holding cell. You don't go to prison unless you like have been deemed guilty. So if you're talking about people who are like falsely deemed guilty, then that's one thing. But the jail thing, that's a different thing. Different states vary on that a lot more than the prison. But the prompt is about prison inmates. It's not about anyone who's incarcerated in any fashion at all, right? If you go to prison, you're in prison because you've done a serious crime. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in prison. You'd be in jail, or you'd be in holding. You'd be awaiting trial. But if you're a prison inmate, then yes, you have committed a felonious act, and so yeah, you have broken the social contract. And I guess I want to ask you. You would agree that like by being in prison, you agree with my opening that you lose a lot of rights, right? Like that's just kind of like on its face true, right? Like you can't. Again, they limit certain books that you can read in a prison. That you can't own a weapon in prison, right? Like a lot of amendments, a lot of stuff don't apply. And the 14th Amendment explicitly even talks about, where the Second Amendment doesn't, but the 14th Amendment explicitly says if you've committed serious enough crimes, which is why, again, the Supreme Court has ruled that it is absolutely constitutional to deny voting rights from people that were both in prison and are felons after the fact. And so I guess, yeah, like what are your thoughts on that? Because we lose a lot of rights. So why do you think voting is like some sublime right above freedom of association, above the Second Amendment, above what books you can read? Like why do you think voting is like the end all be all when it comes to rights?
Because it's literally the voice of America, and there are certain policies that have been put in place that have put more people in prison unjustly. Just like I was saying before, when Nixon put out the war on drugs, many people got put into prison for just selling marijuana and things like that, or for drug charges beyond that. I don't think that those people should have been disenfranchised and should have been able to vote to have certain laws changed or amended. They weren't able to boycott.
Okay, so it sounds like you're fine with certain people losing their voting rights. You just want to kind of like, I'm
fine with losing their voting rights.
Well, just the fact that you're bringing up the example of like someone like selling drugs and stuff, it sounds like you'd give them a pass, but then like the person who like was a rapist or like someone who took someone else's life, then should they still be allowed to vote? Because if so, then why bring up Nixon and the vote? So, okay, why bring up that then? That's a distraction. You think that everyone should be allowed to vote? It doesn't. It absolutely is, because you think they all should be.
Right now, they get to vote. You're being goofy.
Well, sure, no, but that's it. Do you mean people that have
one in
paid
office right now? Like, come on.
Okay, well that's not criminal charge. If we're talking again, we have to be precise on what we mean. If you're a rapist in most states and you have gotten out, you've served your time, in most states you are allowed to vote at a certain point. In a couple states, I think Iowa and Kentucky, and there's one other one I'm not thinking of. There's like 3 states I think where it's like you can be disenfranchised like on a pretty permanent basis. But in most states, after you get released and after you're off parole, you are allowed to vote again. Right, so we're not talking about like permanent disenfranchise, except for a few states.
No matter how clear I am with you, you're just really not going to get where I'm coming from with this. I'm pointing out to you that certain laws that are put on the books specifically disenfranchise minorities to lower the amount of minorities that are able to vote, making sure these minorities' interests are not being spoken for. So
I think this could be true back in the
being
this could be true back in the day. Like I think if you were punting to a historical argument, I think I would almost accept that, because after slavery was done and stuff, they would get people on like vagrancy laws, and they would historically use that to disenfranchise black people, because obviously if you just came off a plantation, you're gonna have troubles with housing, and so they arrest you for vagrancy law. And so I would kind of get that if that's where you're going, but we're talking about like people in prison now. They're like, to be in prison again, you're not just like doing some like very minor thing. Like that is an obvious bar to be in prison. We're not talking about jail. We have to like distinguish those two things, right? So you have done something that society, and again, if you don't like those laws, then vote to change them. But you've done something that society has considered that you don't even deserve just jail time, that you're in jail for like more than 1 or 2 years or whatever it is, that you deserve prison time. And so if you've broken that social contract that deeply, why would you then be allowed to vote to change policy? Like you have given up those rights in the same way that you have given up other rights, which I haven't heard a counter to that yet, because you agree that a lot of rights are contingent on you not being in prison. Because for me, if I took you and I put you in my house and I locked you up, that would be illegal, right? I can't do that because you have a bunch of rights. But yet the government, they can put you in prison, and they can tell you what you can't read. They can tell you where you can go. They can tell you how much privacy you have. There's like so many things that change. And so it seems like you're elevating the voting issue to an extreme example. And I guess I just don't understand that, because not everyone that lives in America gets to vote. You agree with that, right?
No, but anybody that is actually a part of the country itself and has stake in what happens within that country should have their voice heard.
No, that's not you. Okay, no, that's not. So you think a 16-year-old should be able to vote based on what you just said?
I mean,
or would you do?
If you can,
okay, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old. Or would you put an arbitrary age cutoff on it, as the 14th Amendment does?
Which is perfectly
okay.
Fine. I'm not gonna.
Okay, so you would punt. So you would punt back to the 14th Amendment, which gives the age exception. It also gives the crime exemption. So why would you say, can't I make the argument that some like 17-year-old that can't vote, you're disenfranchising them in the same way that you're saying I'm disenfranchising prisoners if I don't want them to vote?
Why is a 14-year-old not allowed to vote?
Because the 14th Amendment. Because we've deemed that
the 14th Amendment exists.
Because we have deemed that like we have the Equal Protections Clause. We want the people who should vote and who have a stake in society to vote. And we have deemed that people under 21 don't have a stake, or under 18, I guess. I don't actually, yeah. No, 18, I guess. Yeah, not 21. Yeah, I've been saying it wrong. I was thinking of drinking, But yeah, we've determined that people under the age of 18 should not vote. And in the same way, because we don't think they have a good stake in society, they're not part of the social contract. And with prisoners, we also think that they have given up their share in the social contract, albeit temporarily, besides Kentucky and the other states, right? Only a few of them believe that. But like almost every state believes that, yes, that is something. And that's what the 14th Amendment believes, that if you've done something bad, then you shouldn't be able to vote. And again, that's been decided in the Supreme Court. So I want to hear from you, I guess, why would the age thing be something you would accept which is very arbitrary? The only reason you're pulling from that would be from the amendment and from how like SCOTUS has decided. And that's my exact argument on why we think that if you're a felon who is in prison, that you shouldn't be able to vote.
I mean, honestly, I say as soon as you're paying taxes in any way, shape, or form, you should be able to vote. But we're not here to argue that right now. We're talking about people who have, especially with being brought up on charges for crimes, have a stake in society and are mature enough to make decisions about voting. So why can't these well over 18-year-old individuals that are in prison get a vote?
We can move on from that. I just want to point out that you don't think that every American citizen should be able to vote. So I think that you agree with that part of the 14th Amendment, but you don't agree with the rest, which is fine. But I guess I want to move on if you're willing.
Are you ignoring my qualifier?
I'm saying your qualifier comes from the same amendment that I am drawing from. It comes from the same place. So the fact that you're putting an age of majority at 18, that's exactly the same reason I'm saying that crimes is something that can disenfranchise somebody. It comes from the same document. So I don't know what you want in that sense, right? It's like we're getting that from the same place. You're rejecting half of it and not accepting the whole thing, and you're rejecting precedent and all the rulings that have been done on that. So
it should be the rule. We can't amend it. There's no.
I mean, it is the Constitution. I just want to point out it is the Constitution, that's cool if you don't like that part of the Constitution. But I'm just saying it's from the same place that you get the age from. But I do want to ask you about the voting block thing, because I don't think I heard a very good answer on that. How do you not think, you seem to like really go against me in that in your rebuttal to my opener, but how do you not see that let's say, imagine you and me were in prison, and then someone, let's say Kamala Harris is like, hey, anyone who's in prison, let's just an insane hypothetical, let's say she's like, I'll half your prison sentences. Well, all 2 million people that are in a fucking prison, they would vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, even me as someone, who voted for Donald Trump, I might switch my vote in that case. Look, if I got a 10-year sentence, I mean, I got to think about my practical life. So how could you not see problematic issues coming up with stuff like voting blocks and like special interest groups for people who are in prison?
Because that's just silly on its face. Like, for the same reason that all
what part is silly?
Wanted the J6ers to get clemency. This happened anyway. So whether or not they can vote or can't vote.
So if the J6ers could vote, the J6ers that Trump is saying he's going to pardon, you agree they would have voted for Trump, right? If they could have, they would have. So I feel like you and me are on the same page. I'm saying.
Before they went to jail.
Okay, but once they're in jail, anyone who's in jail will obviously vote for Trump because he's saying he's going to pardon him. That's definitionally a special interest group that will obviously vote in a way we both know they're going to vote. And again, I want you to engage with my Kamala Harris hypothetical there. You would agree that even you and me, we might be on different sides of the political aisle, but let's say we're both spending time, we got a 20-year sentence, she says I'll reduce that to 10, then it's like at a certain point, I want to see my family, I want to see my friends, I like, that's the political partisan stuff. I'm like, hey, that's like so appealing to me, I might just vote, I might be a single issue voter. And do you not think you think that's an insane thing to happen? And I want to know why you think that's so insane, because to me, that's just so deeply logical for the vast majority of prisoners if that's what was promised to them.
Because A, I don't see that being the case. B, even if it's promised to them, doesn't mean
it's not the case. It's not the case because in 50 states or in 48 states, you can't do that. So that's why you don't see it happening. You don't see it happening because in the vast majority of states, it's illegal that people that are in prison can't vote.
I'm saying
If it was, you would see it
parameter-
happen otherwise.
By what parameter could she even say, I'm going to like half all of your prison sentences? How would she be
She
able
could
to
just
make
say
happen?
that. What
You can
do
say
you
whatever
mean?
You want. Literally anybody can say anything they want.
Presidents have full ability to pardon. We saw that with Trump. So Kamala could absolutely say, I will pardon X amount of people. And there's not a limit on pardons. So she could pardon anyone she wants. And if Kamala said, I will pardon you, Confluence, I'd be like, hell yeah, that is my queen, the half black, half Indian, that's who I'm going to vote for 100%, because she's going to give me more than whatever some political leaning will give. And I feel like that is just logical. That's what everyone would do. You would have to be like incredibly
hypothetical, but by all means, if you think that's going to be what happens.
Well, no, it's a hypothetical. It's not the future. It's a hypothetical, and it's designed to test the logic.
No,
it is goofy, but you're not giving me a good answer to it, which makes it less goofy. If you gave me a good answer, then I agree.
All these people actually believed it, saw some road to where this was possible to happen, and it caused all of them, literally all of them, to vote for this individual. Yeah, maybe you could see that as a harm, but that's not even in the realm of possibility. So
why? I don't know why you don't see that. You at least see it on the J6 level. Let's say they're all in prison, the January 6th protesters, and Trump says, I want to pardon you. Obviously, 100% of them, even if they change their mind, they're going to vote for Trump. They're going to vote for the guy who's going to pardon them from their 20-year prison sentences. That's not goofy. That's just on its face, common sense, right? You would agree with that. The J6ers, it doesn't. Wait, what do you disagree with on that? You think the J6ers, even if they change their mind, and the guy is saying, I will get you out of jail, I'll get you home to see your wife and kids, I will give you life again so you don't come into prison when you're 60 years old. You don't think they'll be absolutely, I will vote for that. I don't really care about the other stuff, the other kind of minutia issues that don't affect my life, because what issue would affect your life more than telling someone that they could get out of prison either immediately or a lot sooner?
You're thinking about these things in a vacuum. I don't know why this weird black and white thought process is in your head, but if people have felony convictions for things that they know full well they're never going to get clemency for, they got caught up on quadruple homicide with video, so on and so forth, there's no way this person's getting out and having their sentence.
Sure, but we don't have to look at pardons. We don't have to look at pardons. We could look at things like better prison conditions, right? You agree there would be, in the same way that people try to get the black vote or the Mexican vote or the trad wife vote, there would be you're trying to wine and dine people who are in prison. That would 2 million people is not a small amount of people. So I agree. You could say my examples are pie in the sky and hard to see in practicality.
Prison reform. Whatever will I do?
You don't think that's a negative incentive? You don't think it's a negative incentive that prisoners who don't have the best interests of society, who have denied the social contract and broken it, you don't think they're going to vote for, you think they're going to vote for things that are in society's best interest as opposed to just voting for their own best interest? And you don't think that would cause a lot of conflict in how that plays out?
Do you not think a better prison system is in the best interest of society?
Yeah, a better prison sentence.
Well, gets better outcomes.
Sure, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
that is what we're talking about.
No, it's not, because you think a prisoner has
It's not what you're talking about. It's what I'm talking about.
You think the prisoner is super selfless and they're going to vote what they think is in the best of society's interest, even though they have done a felony and they're in prison. And not all people who have done that are bad people.
It is what it is.
I just think it's crazy that you can't understand that there would be a voting bloc that would vote against society's best interest by virtue of them having done serious crimes enough to land them in prison. And you don't think that could possibly sway elections in a way that would be maladaptive?
Nah, and you're being paranoid, my G. Stop that.
I don't think it's paranoia.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop y'all there. I actually put the extra 5 on because y'all were cooking and I was enjoying it. I do have a couple of questions from the judges though, so we're gonna go through these real quick, and there may be some that get added based on your answers, but I'm gonna go through these as best as I can. The questions were somewhat fever dreamy, and so I'm gonna try to make sure I understood the meat of the question. And I'm gonna put 1 minute on the clock. Do not feel necessary to answer the whole or use the whole minute. It's just don't go past that minute so we can kind of keep it reasonable. I'm gonna ask you each of these questions. So, Lethe first. It was stated that Maine and Vermont allow current inmates to vote. Do you believe that these states or that the other states should change their laws? I think I already know the answer, but I just want to know. Do you believe that they should be allowed to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Now, I believe that you, Confluence, in your comments sort of said that you were okay with the idea that the states were allowed to make their own decisions. But do you think that they should be allowed to make their own decisions? Or do you think that states like Vermont and Maine should be forced to fall in line with the majority?
There's no federal law saying that like people in prison can't vote, and so I think it is a state's issue. And so even though I think they should change their laws because I think their laws are bad, I don't advocate for some like federal government thing to go into the states and tell them what to do.
All right, good stuff. Great answers. Second question, back to you, Lethe. We know that voting is not a constitutional right. Okay. Do you personally view it as more of a privilege, a civic duty, or do you view it as something else?
Oh, wow. They put it right there in there. I think it's a civic duty. I think you have your duty to put forward your voice in what you want America to be.
Okay. Same question over to you, Confluence. Do you believe, since it is not technically a right given to us by the Constitution or protected by the Constitution, do you believe that it is a civic duty, a privilege, or do you believe it is something else?
For those who can vote, I think it's a civic duty. And for everybody else, well, for everybody, not everyone else, it is a privilege. And privileges can be revoked. You can lose privileges for a lot of things. It's the same with a lot of rights that we think we have. A lot of them get, if you're in prison, again, we have broken that society contract and you lose a ton of things that we will call rights. And one of those rights or privileges or whatever verbiage we want to use would be the ability to vote. And so that leads to you being disenfranchised.
Okay, cool. Good answers. Now, what do we do? Okay, I'm not sure that I understand this one. The system we currently have allows for pardons that do restore voting rights. Do you think that that is better or worse than our current situation? Go ahead, or that allowing people to vote in prison would be better or worse than that?
I'm sorry, was that to me?
I was going to say, yes, it's to you first, Lethe. Let me try and form that question again. Do you believe that it is better for a president to be able to arbitrarily restore your voting rights, or do you believe that that it would be better for us to have just absolute voting privileges?
I think absolute voting privileges would be a better way to go about it.
Okay. Same question to you, Confluence. Do you believe that it is better for the president to be able to do so arbitrarily than for it to just remain uniform?
I think it is better. I think presidential pardons would have to be its own entire debate. But I think that causes less harm because just even though there's no limit on presidential pardons, they just end up being more limited in scope. And so they might apply to 500, 600 people. They're not applying to 2 million people. So I just think the amount of harm done, maybe some president could come along and just pardon like millions of people. And like that would be an issue. But I think just on the scale, if we look at the scale, the system we have now just does less harm. And presumably presidential pardons, there at least is some rhyme or reason, and the president was voted for, and so hopefully we're trusting that they will pardon the right people. And yeah, there's a lot to go into on that, but those are my basic thoughts.
Okay. Cheers. And then this is the last one, I promise, and then we're going to kick it over to you guys for your actual closing arguments. Hopefully some of these questions might have even kind of helped to influence those outputs. That said, last question. And I know this is going to be weirdly worded, but I'm going to do my best here to frame it because you sort of already answered part of it. We get that you don't consider, neither of you seem to consider voting to be a right. You consider it to be either a civic duty or a privilege. But I'm curious, as are the judges, what rights would you think are more important or sacred than that of voting? You first, Lethe.
More sacred than that of voting? I mean, freedom of speech. Not be able to have the government come and clap you in irons because you say something about them. Seems pretty freaking important in a lot of what this country was founded on.
Okay, I like that. And Confluence, what rights do you personally believe are more sacred or enshrined than that of the voting?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think anything that we would broadly talk about as like human rights, like the right to like a fair trial and, the right to not face like cruel and unjust punishment. I would say those are things that are, not taken away if you're a felon. And I don't think they should be, because then that would get into some human rights issues. And so, yeah, I could rate all the rights, and I would agree the freedom of speech is probably, a more fundamental right than the right to vote. But I ultimately think that, yes, prisoners get the rights that they should get, which is the things I've mentioned. among other things. And I think those would trump the right to vote. I think most people would agree with that.
Okay. All right, very cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put 3 minutes on the clock. I'm going to put the new vote for everybody out there in the audience here in just a second. I'm going to drop it into the chat as well, in the Discord chat as well, so everybody can share it to their personal streams. But 3 minutes is on the clock for you first, Lethe. Bring it home for us. Prison inmates should still be allowed to vote. Are you ready?
Yes, indeed.
All right, kick it home.
So where I started the party before, if the penalty for a crime is a fine, then that law only exists for the lower class. People like Jeff Epstein were able to walk out of their cell whenever they felt like it, walk back into their cell whenever they felt like it. They got virtually no rights or privileges removed from them. So if you have money and you're doing well, you probably are going to get a better shake than the average person that's in jail, who is being targeted usually by a system that wants them in jail to disenfranchise them. This person that I'm dealing with today would have been fine with the slaves not being able to vote because, that's the law. That's what we're doing. Why should they have a vote? I mean, at least they're 3/5 of a vote for each. I don't need this kind of thinking. Just because it's a law doesn't mean it shouldn't be changed. Doesn't mean we can't have progress in this country. I'll end on that.
Okay, good stuff. I was completely not ready for you there. Now I'm going to go ahead and give 3 minutes over to you, Mr. Confluence. Confluence, are you ready for your closing?
I am, yeah.
All right, go ahead, bring it home, sir.
So I think just first of all, I hope I'm allowed to reply to his closing and my closing, but Epstein was not in prison. Epstein was in jail. And I think there's been a lot of confusion on what jail is and what prison is. And those things are not the same. I just want to point that out. My main points was that the 14th Amendment has explicit carve outs for people not voting if they've done serious crimes, which I think I repeated ad nauseum. This has been interpreted by SCOTUS to say it is constitutional to disenfranchise felons legally. These are just the facts on the table. And I don't like that he is saying that I would be supporting some like 3/5 rule. If my argument stopped and started with the legal stuff, that would be fine. But my argument, in fact, does not. So I will continue. From a rights point of view, which I repeated, you lose all sorts of constitutional rights in prison and after prison. And I never heard a reason on why those should be changed. For example, the right of free association, the right to bear arms, etc. You also lose what many of us would call rights, like the right to read what book you want, the right to privacy, the right to free movement. So I don't understand why the right to vote would be in a different category of rights. That prisoners continue to have. Next, I think voting is a civic duty that you have because you're participating in society and playing by society's rules, which I said, and I don't think I heard a good response to. By committing a felony, you're breaking that social contract, and you are therefore, at least temporarily in most states, removed from being able to vote. While you're in prison, you're almost definitionally not participating in society. It's definitional because that basically is what prison is. So why would you maintain voting rights when you're being temporarily plucked out of society for a set period of time? Again, that is literally what incarceration means. Next, with 1.5 to 2 million incarcerated people serving their time in prisons, this is a potential massive voting block. We somehow disagreed on that. To me, I don't understand why. That seems very obvious to me. Obviously, they'd have a high chance of voting directly against the interests of society. This would cause politicians to want to win the prison vote, which would lead to a bunch of negative political incentives like promising pardons or lesser prison time or clemency or making certain criminal acts legal or reducing the sentences thereof. The list could honestly go on, and I don't see how that wasn't addressed or really felt to be an actual concern. These are all maladaptive incentives for a society to have, and thus most states do not have them. So with all that said, I maintain that prisoners should not be able to vote. It's in line with our Constitution. It's in line with our legal system. It's in line with all of the explanations and hypotheticals and logic I've laid out, and it's bad for society.
All right. So both of y'all under the wire. Nicely done. That is it. Absolutely great fucking debate, gentlemen. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I hope everybody else did too. I'm going to give the judges a couple of minutes to kind of compose themselves and clear their thoughts. I've got the vote out in the audience as well as in the Discord chat if you guys want to share it into yours. Get those votes. It's free. It costs you nothing. Just go ahead and click it. Tell us where you stand on this. We actually do think this one might matter because I have no idea where the judges landed on this one. With that said, I went with Chief first last time. This time I'm going to kick it over to DPP. Mr. Patriot, are you ready to go with your judgment, sir?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah, Personally, it sucks because I agree with pretty much everything Lethe says. It's like every argument I would make, I have to give it to Confluence, just because the arguments about the actual constitutional state laws about it, the kind of support with those, and kind of I think it almost goes to the, like, boils down to like a person was convicted, this thing kind of did happen, versus like the government might abuse the right to take this away, if that makes sense how I said it. But someone did commit a crime. That crime was proven in court, versus this kind of like phantom government overreach that might happen. I give the more value to the person was convicted. Let's take that right away. It's a valid state interest, as some people would say. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm thinking.
Okay, giving it to Confluence from the Patriot. Now over to you, Let's Chief. Are you ready with your judgment, good sir?
Yeah, I think Confluence did a great job of making a clear and concise argument about voting being one of many rights that you are losing by choice of breaking the social contract. I don't feel like the argument was engaged with too much, other than, Lethe did kind of say that the system was designed to disenfranchise those people. I just wish like the more time would have spent like kind of building up that argument and everything else. Similar to the other judge, I do agree like with Lethe's perspective. I think it was argued better on the other side. Whereas Lethe kind of like asserted that the right should never be revoked. It just didn't have much support for that argument. Though I agree it was like a bit silly to say, that argument that will cut all sentences in half, like, wasn't necessarily the best place to go. I would have stuck on, especially coming from your side, I would have stuck on the J6 thing a little bit more first before going back to that. But other than that, I'm going to give it to Confluence, and I vote to make all crime legal. And also, there's going to be free snacks in the vending machine by the cafeteria.
Fuck yeah! Cheers to that. Now, putting the $10 into your into your commissary was the bring home there for me. I love that one, because again, it was cool the way you did that. It wasn't what he was talking about at all, but you did what you could to try to make it like seem silly what he was saying. With that said, Lethe, I love you, dude. And kind of like both the judges say, like, my vote here doesn't matter, but I got to say I agree with him. You did your best, but Confluence, you fucking brought it, bro. Like, I don't like anything you said, but I got to give it to you. You said it great. Right. I honestly thought that both of the judges were going to automatically just fail you for voting for Trump. But,
I shouldn't have said that. That was a misstep.
No, but seriously, that was absolutely amazing. Even though I disagreed with you, two things. Like, I disagree with Let's Chief in that you bringing up the whole, like, the fact that you have literally a captive audience who is the easiest to bribe. Bro, I'll let you out of prison early if you vote for me. Like, fuck. And they don't even have to do it. They don't even have to do it. They just have to say that.
Yeah, but that's literally every promise.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's
what
true.
I was saying, honestly.
No, yeah, I hear you, but I think that, like you said, I think that there's no more better representative of a single issue vote than that particular bribe right there. Also, whenever you were saying the thing about the you can't have weapons, you already have like other rights have been lost. So why would we not be willing to accept this right being lost as well? Which I thought Lethe's response of, and the fact that both of y'all did not acknowledge voting as a right, kind of disempowered that, but it was too late, and you didn't really like bring it back around to that. And so again, like you just kind of left that hanging there. I really thought that was a really great debate for both.
I know now it's not totally the time to debate the debate, but when you're talking about hanging Clemency over the head and like cutting sentences in half. An easy counter that would be how, like, the U.S. has some of the harshest prison sentences.
Thank you for reminding me. And I also got to give it to you, Confluence, for being able to just bullshit your way through a straight up, absolute bullshit back. The U.S. does, like, I was like, I got to check because I could have sworn we do have the most incarcerated people in the world. Believe it or not.
I think they were talking about each other. One was talking.
Yeah, I thought he meant like per capita. Yeah, so that could have been my bad. I think I misheard that.
I even took full caps out in my open mode.
He did. But
Yeah,
you were
no,
able
yeah,
to
that's
get
my
it in
bad.
there. No, because the way that you handled it was great. Fact checking later and roll on. You just fucking steamrolled past it. And I mean, again, in a debate like this, that's what you got to do. And so it works because, again, Leafy wasn't all like, and if you had jumped onto the keyboard to try to fact check you, the rest of what you said would have just sailed past him. So you kind of caught him where he couldn't actually properly debunk that statement. So I was just, that was kind of neat that you did that. So anyway, let's check the audience.
It was a virtually flawless performance. Just to make it
Can I? Can I?
Yeah, I did that. Go ahead.
I just want to say that you made a statement about the idea that if they would just that politicians like presidents would try and favor towards that voting bloc in order for them to get an easy 20-something million vote. The issue with that is that in order to lean towards the voting bloc, you then have to account for the voting bloc that you'd be losing by doing so. And both parties within this country are very heavy on their anti-crime. You must be strong on crime in both the Democratic and Republican parties. So if you were to go and say that I'm going to half the sentences of people who have manslaughter charges in this country, you expect it to lose even more voters than you just gained by doing that.
That's very fair. I actually that is a good comeback. I actually really that's a very smart point. Yeah.
So we're saying it's a captive argument. I don't see how putting a ballot in front of someone makes them go for you.
True. No. But the bribery behind it, I think.
What bribery though? Putting a ballot.
The incentivization. The ability to incentivize the vote.
What do they get from the vote? They don't get out of jail. They just get to vote.
Right, but they're being promised that, and that hope is a damnable drug. More than what my friend is on. You know, that's hope is way more of a painkiller than painkillers.
Like the president and governors, state governments have the right to just, I'll pardon you and get you out of jail right now if you vote for me. Like that's the thing we have now.
Also, you can't pardon. We can't just pardon people. It has to be a federal level crime that in order to pardon
for the president.
President can't pardon state, and state can't pardon federal.
So the state can't pardon So the governor can just buy votes by pardon.
By pardoning votes, by pardoning.
Yeah, but like dead serious. Like if you had a dude that hypothetically murdered 14 people and their dogs, and you said, "Hey, we're gonna get you out of jail," do you think that person has any incentive to believe you?
Do you think the people who vote for you also are going to go, yeah, thank you, please get him out of jail, I'm going to give you a vote?
Yeah, like, it would be poison to your entire political career, and it just wouldn't happen. So, it's a goofy hypothetical.
That's a good point to bring up, though, because, you're just, like, doubly emphasizing that with the pardons, it is, like, still, like, a classist system where, the rich not only get to get away with their crimes, but they're also, by having access to the pardon system, like, compared to like the more poor prison population, like it's just re-emphasizing the point. I think.
I want to say if I can that I don't know who said the comment about pardoning it only being like federal or like. Because that's a good point. Because like even someone like Derek Chauvin, it's like if he was, there's a lot of talk about like, oh, should Trump pardon him on the right for some reason? But it doesn't matter. He would just be moved to a state penitentiary and then serve out like 25 years in jail anyway. It makes no difference. And so that is actually a very good point. Is like most murders and like serious crimes are charged at state level. So it's like it doesn't really, the pardon system only applies to the federal charges, which which is a minority of people in prison.
Good job throwing in that, which is absurd part, because I was worried that you were going to be like, yeah, we should give him pardon.
No, I'm center right. Okay, I'm not that crazy. I'm not that crazy.
He did say he was a reasonable human being, even if he did.
Yeah, still Trump voter, but not that insane.
So real quick, I do want to say, Well, that's for the after party, bro. I do want to say that both times now the audience has voted against the judges. This time the sway actually went for the AF. So Lethe, you've got the will of the people at least, if not the judges. So good on you for that. All right. So we have one more debate scheduled. I'm going to give a little bit of a preamble to this one just because this one is a little personal. So their next two debaters, this debate has actually taken place apparently in one of their Discord channels where it kind of broke down into some name calling and some shit slinging and some finger pointing. And when I found out about that, I said, well, goddamn, I want to hear that shit happen in real time. So that said, the topic was kind of interesting to me, and I hope that you guys find it as interesting to hear them duke it out as me. I've got your vote in the chat there. I believe you guys. Fuck, I'll put it into the group. You've already got this one, Confluence. If you want to drop it in your chat, you've got the opening version. But the next prompt. It's going to be a little bit long-winded, so forgive me for that as well, but I couldn't really tighten it up any. Our prompt this time is, boom, the Trump administration has been more supportive of Ukraine than that of Biden. So one more time, just to be clear, the presidential or administrative support from the Trump administration has been greater in regards to Ukraine than Biden's administration. Now, on the affirmative, saying that Trump has indeed helped Ukraine more than Biden, would be Tyler, aka the average debate enjoyer, the dude directly above my head here. And coming in, oh, look at them guns ready to blaze. Coming in for the negative, saying that Biden was actually more supportive of Ukraine than Trump. That's going to be Circa, the dude who already came in sword fighting on behalf of Mr. Lonzo while he was slain on the battlefield. We have got the timer ready. 3 minutes is on the clock. Tyler, you are muted. I'm not sure if you know that or if you can hear me. You seem to be flexing at the right time, so I think you hear what I'm saying. I'm going to put that into the chat one more time for the...
Can I just say, before we begin, this is in the context of specifically the war, not the broad support for Ukraine on any issue since Ukraine's been invented.
Why does shit always move on me? I hate it. You're still muted, Tyler.
Am I still? Wow.
Can you hear me, Tyler? Because you can't do your opening while you're muted, sir.
Sir,
He's not,
Hunter
he's
Biden's
not,
I'm not muted on my end.
he's not muted.
Hey, now. Don't throw shots, Judge. All right, everybody, go ahead and get your vote in on this prompt.
You guys hear me? Am I good?
This is going to be our last debate of the night, and then we're going to open it up to open party afterwards. So, Tyler, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, sir. 3 minutes is on the clock. Go ahead and tell us why the Trump administration has been more supportive of Ukraine than that of Biden.
Okay, so we're going to be talking specifically about the war effort, not support.
Tyler, you are still muted. Is it me who muted? Oh, fuck me. I muted you. My bad. Sorry. Time is restarted. Yeah, my bad. I think I accidentally muted you. Server muted you when I was trying to suss out who it was that had the background noise. So you can blame Lethe later. Are you ready to go again? All right, cool. Sorry for taking the wind out of your sails. Go.
All right, so we're talking about specifically aid when it comes to the war effort with Russia. So this breaks down on two levels for me. This is first, ideologically, it's a no-brainer. Everyone's known our entire lives that the right wing is the party of war, the party of U.S. hegemony. It's been so since before the Cold War. This is why the neocons came over. They were originally were Nixon Democrats that became Republicans because of the Reagan administration's stance on the Cold War. So forming policy and strategy from a right-wing perspective is actually going to be about winning wars, not paying off people to preserve peace. On an ideological level, the right wing is always going to be the side you want on your side if you're trying to win the war. That to me tells that they are ideologically the better backers. Now, when you say this, it kind of plays out practically in that, what do we mean there? Well, the Trump administration put a ton of sanctions against Russia. He stopped the pipeline that was going to Russia that would have boosted their economy. He did all sorts of actions with them. He even threatened to bomb Moscow. When the Biden administration was there trying to talk them down from the war, they took down most of these sanctions, only putting a couple of them in place. They did no type of economic attacks against them pre-war. They stopped selling lethal weapons to Ukraine in order to appease Russia, and they were also giving them other appeasement. They were essentially rewarding Russia for their aggression on Ukraine by getting rid of things that Trump had put in place. And that still resulted in a war. Now we're going to go to the practical. The practical to me is what actually happened in terms of policy. The tit for tat we're going to be doing all night. One person did X, one person did Y. Well, there's three major things we're going to hear about Trump. Is going to be about the impeachment that happened long before the war started. And that was a couple of months, and everything was fine. Didn't affect Ukraine at all in war. We're going to hear about the J.D. Vance fight that ended up. There were a little bit of Ukrainian issues when Trump cut off aid and cut off intelligence, but generally that didn't help or hurt them that much. Whereas Biden holding out against them, not letting them attack deep into Ukraine, not giving them the weapons that they needed, there was a bunch of efforts that Biden did to hold Ukraine back, to give an off-ramp, to potentially provide Russia with different ways to get out of the conflict while still saving face. At the end of the day, we're talking about Trump was trying to attack the enemies of Russia on the world stage, whereas Biden was placating them. We look at the Iran deal, the rebirth of the JCPOA that Biden campaigned on. Even after the war effort was going, he was still trying to make a deal with Iran, who's a close ally. There was the Obama red line on Syria. He made a red line. They violated it. He didn't do anything. So Russia and its proxies and its allies have been actually aided by the Democrats on the world stage, where Trump dropped bunker busters on them after destroying their economy. We'll probably get into why that's a big deal later, but I would say on the world stage, ideologically and through policy, the Trump administration backed everything Biden did and said he wasn't doing enough, while coming into office and doing significantly more. All you have are anecdotes.
And nailed it. All right. So that is going to be 2 minutes on the clock. Serica, it is 2 minutes for cross-examination. Poke holes, ask questions, set it up. Are you ready to cross-ex? You are muted, sir.
Sure.
All right. Go ahead.
All right, so a few things. I noticed that you said, I just found it funny that you said impeachment was too long ago and did nothing, even though it was a few months, to essentially weaken Ukraine as it relates to a war that Russia invaded them, like, what, 3 years later? But somehow neocons, who aren't represented by Trump in any way, at least I think, are more relevant. I don't really understand. How's that, like, too far and that one's not?
I think I'd have to reread my whole introduction for you. The neocons were brought up to show that the right wing has always been the party of global hegemony and winning wars across the globe.
Trump is supposedly someone who is anti-that.
The impeachment, no, he's not. The impeachment that was brought up.
He's not.
No, the impeachment, I'm trying to answer your question. The impeachment that was brought up, the reason why I brought that up as something that's anecdote that we can hand wave away, is because it was so far away from the actual war effort that we were talking about initially, and that this is about, that it didn't hurt Ukraine at all when it came to the war.
Just because Russia didn't invade yet did not mean fighting was not happening in the Donbass.
It doesn't mean they had all their funding back a couple of weeks later. There's zero practical proof that it hurt them at all in the war effort or any efforts fighting with Russia.
Might be a time when Biden did actually just stop or threaten to withhold funding like that?
He didn't threaten, he just flat out did it. Yes, he withheld certain weapons. Yes, absolutely. There's a ton of. I have articles in my citation.
Missiles that I knew you were going to bring up is not
multiple missiles. There's all sorts of weaponry. There's one. That's one missile that you brought up. Trump just approved, and the Pentagon just approved the other day, the long-range Patriot missiles going to Ukraine so they could attack deep into Russia. During the entire Biden administration, what Biden said was Ukraine was not even allowed to attack deep into Russia, a policy that they didn't drop until 2 weeks after the election when the Trump transition team pressured them to do so.
This was a policy of NATO.
It doesn't matter. It was also a policy of Biden. It doesn't matter if it was a policy of the Mars. It was still a policy of Biden.
It does. Yes, it does.
Time. Hold on, Circa. Hold on. We're putting on 3 minutes on the clock. Go ahead and work that straight into your opening statement. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, give me a sec.
All right. Go ahead. Whenever you're ready, I'll start.
So mine, I'm going to be doing the side that Joe Biden supported Ukraine more than Donald Trump, right? Support for Ukraine is more than a policy. It's a test of conviction. When comparing presidents Joe Biden and Donald Trump, the difference is unmistakable in my opinion. Biden's record shows consistent commitment, grounded in law, alliance, and moral clarity. Trump's reflects hesitation and political interference. Under Joe Biden, which I don't want to contribute this directly to him because it is a congressional bill. It was bipartisan in a way. But there was $170 billion provided in military, economic, humanitarian, and other support to Ukraine. And I said that's not charity in our little talk earlier. That strategy included advanced systems like HIMARS and Patriot air defense missiles that he was just talking about. It also included older generation Abrams tanks and ATACMS, and the training intelligence to use them effectively. Biden didn't act alone. He rebuilt trust in NATO after Trump left NATO in his first term, which most definitely did not help Ukraine down the line not get invaded. He coordinated sanctions and rallied European allies, which is, I don't know how you thought that he didn't do that or like lifted sanctions. At the 2024 NATO summit, I'm just going to quote him here, where he said that defending Ukraine was defending democracy itself, and he said that freedom, once compromised, seldom stops at that one border, to show his conviction towards them. He also managed risk carefully. Early in the war, Biden limited use of these long-range missiles that we were just talking about to avoid triggering a broader conflict. Russia was very aggressive against this. You know, obviously we have to pick and choose which things Russia is more threatening about, but this was not like in hindsight, it looks very simple. But what happened is when Russia opened up the Kharkov initiative, they used North Korean soldiers, and the strategic picture changed. So that means it was a reckless move by Moscow, and NATO took advantage of that. They saw it as a restraint no longer deterred aggression, and those limits were lifted because of the use of North Korean troops. And use the NATO Secretary General's own words for this. If you actually went and looked up NATO's transcripts and stuff, I can bring that for you if you'd like. He says it by name, Kharkov and North Korean troops. Now, compared to Donald Trump, in 2019, his administration withheld congressionally approved military aid for just a few months, like you said. That was meant to strengthen Kyiv's defenses against Russian aggression. And under the GAO, which I'm assuming you're going to say is not correct, that's fine. We have a transcript, it doesn't matter. Confirming that the funds were blocked, though, for policy reasons, not legal ones. The pause in assistance didn't just violate process, it weakened Ukraine's defense posture at a moment when it desperately needed it. And it sent a message to our other allies about confusion of us being reliable, especially leaving NATO. The pause in assistance, or even more telling, is recent Trump again proposed holding up approved foreign aid, including funds of Ukraine, back and forth this entire year. And then, who truly supported Ukraine? Biden didn't just fund a war effort. I think he turned promises into policies and policies into protection. And Trump, by contrast, has just shown interruption, fractured trust, and placed political interest above strategic ability or stability.
And time. All right, I'll let you finish that thought real quick. 2 minutes is on the clock for you. Go ahead and poke holes. Are you ready to go, Tyler? Cross-examination time.
All right, so I got two things. So one was the sanctions that you said Biden did not remove. In 2017, Trump passed the SSAA TSA sanctions, and in 2019, the chemical weapons sanctions. On top of that, he also put the Nord Stream 2 sanctions. All things Biden removed when he was negotiating with Ukraine, or with Russia, that never went back on. Are you saying that doesn't exist?
I'm unfamiliar.
Okay, well, that happened, so maybe just better debate prep next time. And the second question, Biden withheld $200 million of aid to Ukraine during the negotiations at a time where Ukraine was begging them to send it, saying that Russia was gathering troops on their borders and about to invade, saying this is a critical time for them to get aid, and the Biden administration was withholding it. You said they never withheld this. But when you had talked about Trump with $200 million in aid, in military aid.
Of what aid?
It was missiles. They were withholding $200 million in aid just a couple of weeks before the conflict started. I would have to look at my citation to tell you exactly, but again, you said this did not happen, and I'm telling you, no, they were not long-range missiles. They were not long-range missiles, and they were not able to shoot it. The Biden administration's official demands of Ukraine was that they could not shoot it. So, on top of that, are you denying that this $200 million was not withheld?
Actually, it was NATO because we're a part of NATO.
It doesn't matter if it was NATO or the Mars. It was Biden's admission. We control NATO. If we told NATO we don't want to do this, NATO wouldn't have done this. And all of NATO was not on board. That was also part of our discussion. It was also China and India that were asking for this. It doesn't matter.
That's a good thing.
Because we're talking about the Biden administration's policies, and every time I bring up a Biden administration policy, you hand wave it away as, well, other people were doing it too, so we can't blame Biden for the policy he chose and enacted. It's bad faith hand waving. It's just bad faith hand waving away, so you don't have to admit you took an L on this one. Now, going back to my question, after Biden withheld that aid, you said that Biden was on the same team as Ukraine consistently. You even said in your opener that he was not giving things that Ukraine things that they wanted because it would have pissed off Russia. So if he's actively working to make Russia happy, does that mean he's consistently on the side of Ukraine, unimpeachable, like you said?
And open talk has started. Go ahead and just roll on into it.
I think you're conflating making Russia happy with serious risks of nuclear war, right? If there were no risks,
I'm saying they're one and the same. I'm not conflating them. I'm using a colloquial term.
Wouldn't we have just invaded Russia if you think that we can just unilaterally fucking do whatever we want?
I'm using a colloquial idiom. Maybe you could answer the question instead of attack my language.
I did. I answered your question because it was fucking stupid.
You didn't answer it. You dodged it again. You just made false claims that I refuted with actual citations. Skipped right over those. I asked you a question. You rephrased my question and didn't answer it.
Sanctions, correct?
You said, your words was that Biden was on the same page, stalwart backer of Ukraine. Then you said in the same opening that we couldn't help Ukraine in ways that they were asking for because it would have pissed off Russia. So if we're denying Ukraine what they need, what they say they need for the war, are we still a stalwart backer of them in every form?
Jagland, the Secretary General of the Council of Europe? That guy?
No, I'm asking you your stance. I'm not talking about anyone else.
What sanctions are you talking about?
This wasn't about the sanctions. This was about
the SSAT, right?
This was about the $200 million being withheld that I'm asking you about. You're just not engaging at all in questions. That we're not talking about the sanctions right now.
It's fine. We can talk about them later, I guess.
Yes, because I'm asking you a question that you're completely dodging over and over and over again. I'm just trying to hold your feet to fire to get a simple yes or no out of you. It's impossible. So again, you said the Biden administration was a stalwart. Maybe if you stop talking over my question over and over, you'd actually hear it, be able to answer it. You said the Biden administration was a stalwart supporter of Ukraine, on their page, had their back. But then you say in the very same opening, I'm framing the question. You say in the very same opening that Ukraine was not getting the things that they were asked for because of risk of pissing off Russia. If they are doing things at Russia's demand, does that mean that they are stalwart supporters of Ukraine and backing them in every way? Or are they working to help de-escalate the war? Because de-escalating the war is ignoring Ukraine's desires for weapons. It's ignoring their...
Is this a question, or are you just going to fucking monologue an essay right now?
I've already asked it like 6 times. I'm trying to rephrase it because you keep dodging it. I'm trying to rephrase it in the simplest of terms so you can actually answer it.
So let me answer your question. Do you think every managed risk in a conflict is the same thing as sucking that country's dick?
No, but that's not answering my question.
So
you're attacking my language.
Nuclear war, a managed risk in appeasing a nuclear power like Russia?
Yes. So that's the point I'm making. Then that means they're not stalwart. You didn't answer my question. You only answered half the criteria of it to clear up the language you didn't like. The question was, if they are stalwart backers and committed to Ukraine, like you said in your opening, that them giving several things to Russia and denying Ukraine those things that they're requesting,
what did they give
is antithetical to that claim, yes or no?
What did they give to Russia? What did they give to Russia?
Their demands to not let Ukraine attack deep into their territory, their demands on security guarantees, their demands on troops in Ukraine, their demands on NATO.
Those are managed risks. And I just told you.
I understand their managed risk. Just putting a label on them does not get you out of answering the question. You're just putting a label on them and dodging. And I feel like you're dishonest because you can't answer a yes or no question. This is the 6th time I've asked it now. You can't even just say yes or no.
No to the question.
All right, let's move on because obviously I'm not going to get any honesty out of you here.
Ukraine because the risk of using.
I never said Biden doesn't support Ukraine, and the prompt isn't Biden didn't support Ukraine. You said he was on the same page, a stalwart ally of Ukraine. If he's on the same page, then why is he telling them no to their requests, no to their military actions, no to their desires and what they want to do in the war, and instead placating Russia? That would make him not on the same page as Ukraine if he's telling them no, right?
The only thing we said no to was the use of Patriot missiles, and same with every other NATO country, like the Storm Shadow missile and the other fucking variants, of striking into Russian territory.
I didn't ask that. It doesn't matter what we said no on. The fact that we told them no in order to give Russia things that they wanted so they weren't get mad means that we're not on the same page with Ukraine. That's all I'm asking.
If we're treating this like a dentist's office abacus right now, how many times...
I'm just trying to get you to answer a question honestly. That's it. It's impossible.
I'll just put it on the tally mark of saying Biden did say no once, okay? Got it. So what he says no to doesn't matter. You just said that, Schoenberg.
Okay, so if you have to lie like this in order to get you to answer the question, that's fine.
Suspended or said no to Ukraine on behalf of really fucking extremely weird reason.
I don't know, but I didn't make the claim that he was exactly on the same page as him. I'm refuting the claim you made in your opener.
Who supports more though? If we're gonna do some stupid fucking like abacus in a dentist's office, like Trump's definitely done it more. Don't I just win by default then?
No. I'm not. You made a claim. I am refuting that claim directly. Now you're pretending like you never made the claim without saying, "Oh, the claim I made in my opening was wrong."
The substance you want to refute my claim with, right, is that Biden said no one time about.
I did not say one time. I gave you multiple examples. What you're doing now is lying to play down my accusation, and that you've already admitted to. You've already admitted it. We're moving on now.
No.
We're already moving on now. We're already moving on now. I got your answer. I don't want to focus on your sophistry and bad faith tactics. Now we can go into what the administrations actually did preparing for war. What the Biden administration did was remove sanctions. Would you like to speak about those? Now I can give you the exact sanctions.
Sure. Give it to me.
SSAATSA in 2017. These were sanctions on defense, the intel sector, selected oligarchs, officials in Russia, and a dozen companies. In preparation for that sanctions package, the Biden administration prepared that, delayed it to negotiate with Russia over Ukraine and hostility moving forward. They told Russia they would drop Trump-era sanctions against them for their aggression if they stopped doing the escalated aggression they began doing. They were telling them, your aggression will get you a reward. We're going to take sanctions away from you.
They're going to do that in exchange for something?
They did it. They also in the Nord Stream public. Yes, they did. They gave Russia
something in exchange, or what?
Yes, they did. They got something. They got nothing in exchange. No. Russia said to fuck off and continued to invade Ukraine. Obviously, they're still there. But
SSAT.
It's SSAATSA in 2017, the sanctions package.
How was that Biden?
I just told you
he
that.
was vice president?
In 2021, this was passed in 2017. This was a sanctions package. When the Biden administration's turn to prepare this sanctions package for deployment, they delayed it.
Isn't that
I have a citation. Look, if you don't get that these facts exist, I can give you my citations to read after the debate. But this prep was supposed to be done prior.
Isn't that European Union sanctions in 2017? Correct?
I'm looking for your claim. I have it linked in here. I have it all. I'm looking. I don't see that anything about a European sanction. I'm looking at 2017 sanctions. I have the citation linked in here from the Washington Post, from Kissinger, AIS, foreignpolicy.com, all of them talking about Biden's war effort.
So
all from Biden administration.
Sanctions? They were EU sanctions, correct? I could have sworn they were.
No, the Biden administration dropped sanctions against Russia in negotiation. That's like not a disputable fact. They were rewarding them for their escalated aggression against Ukraine. When Trump was asked about it, he said, "We will bomb Moscow if you go into Ukraine." When they started ramping up under Biden, he gave them free shit and tried to placate them to get them to stop.
So the sanctions you're talking about in 2017, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Thorvald Jagland's sanctions.
I'm talking about the sanctions that went through the House, the Senate, and the Trump administration that were put on Russia.
You're talking about in 2021. I just want to get this chronologically because I feel like I don't know about this, so I want you to tell me. What exactly were these?
Okay, it was the Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act in 2017. President Donald J. Trump signed it on August 2nd.
So that's Trump sanctions, right?
Yeah.
So Biden lifted these?
He was preparing a sanctions package and delayed them, telling Russia that he would fully lift them if they did not go into Ukraine. He took the sanctions away temporarily and said it'll stay like this if you stop doing bad things.
Fucking Trump took away the sanctions, right?
No.
I'm so confused, man.
I know. And this is like chronological
How
shit.
does Biden take away an act? This is a congressional act, right?
He has to prepare the sanctions packages, and he delayed the sanctions package from them.
Okay. So this 2017 law imposes sanctions on North Korea, Iran, and Russia, right?
Yes.
Now, what does this law do? I have to read it? Do you know what it does? Can you tell me?
Yeah, I'm not here. I did not do my research on this specific sanctions law. No, this was just one of my very, very, very many points showing.
Isn't this a Trump law though? Like, what are we talking about?
Yes, it was a sanctions law against Russia, and all that matters for the context of the debate. Before you derail us into this little fucking hole, is that Biden halted them in negotiations, as well as the Nord Stream pipelines he removed as well, allowing them to continue construction on the Nord Stream 2, something that would have bolstered their economy greatly, since the Nord Stream 1 bolstered their economy by about 30, their oil output by about 30%. The Nord Stream 2 would have done that as well. We don't know exactly who blew that up, but all intel suggests that Ukraine had to go into Russia and blow up the Nord Stream pipelines because they were so coupled with EU for energy. The EU still can't get off of Russian energy until 2027. Something that Trump is advancing by doing energy production, drill baby drill. We are forcing now significant amounts of energy over to the EU to supplant Russia so that we can put stronger economic sanctions on their oil, something Biden never did.
Have you read this bill?
No, I haven't read the entire definition of the bill now. I just read the news stories. It said Biden delayed the sanctions. The entire context of the bill. I read the news story that I have linked in my citation.
Read this, man.
Okay, I think you should do the debate you're in.
I mean, I didn't know about this, but you're making it seem like Biden lifted literal sanctions, which
I did
you
not
then
say
moved
that.
it to say that he delayed it.
I didn't move to say
Correct?
that. I said that initially, that he delayed sanctions for Russia and then said he would remove them permanently if they did not go into Ukraine. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and this act also is a review of the sanctions that Obama put on Russia. That's what he signed into law.
Okay,
This
so
act
maybe they started as Obama
literally
sanctions that
trying
were
to take
enhanced.
away-
It doesn't matter. This is a non sequitur. It has nothing to do with the prompt of the debate. Okay, so what? They came from Obama level sanctions that were enhanced. So what? That's like a lot of how government works.
it was
They
an
build on
effort
top
to
of
take
each other.
them away.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, I'm reading it right now. It gave the ability to review a bunch of Obama sanctions for review. Congressional review
Okay,
of
so take
sanctions
them away and
imposed
replace them. This was a sanctions bill against a bunch of countries, including North Korea. There was no effort under the Trump administration
This is
to remove
specifically-
sanctions
it
from
says
North
sanctions
Korea.
with respect to the Russian Federation, so I don't know why you would bring that up. Doesn't matter.
I told you why. Because those sanctions were still there, and the Biden administration delayed them. You just can't seem to grasp simple facts. You want to play sophist games with everything and weaponize stupidity. It doesn't work.
I think you should read. I think you should read the act.
Okay, I think you should have done
talk
debate
about it.
prep before so you knew what you were talking about before you got in here. Anyways,
A little bit
moving
lost.
on. I know you are. Anyways, moving on. The Trump administration also expelled 60 diplomats, closed consulates, coordinated to force Russia out of the United States footprint in terms of trade, sanctioned them under the Magnitsky Act for child abuse, and on top of that, they were giving lethal aid and boosted training to Ukraine for the first time. They almost doubled the amount of training we were doing, $6.3 billion of additional training and equipment. On top of that, again, Trump threatened to nuke Moscow if they touched Ukraine, and the evidence
Did
is
you
they
say
never
that
went into it.
Trump increased the funding?
Yes, I have it from... Oh, no. That was Biden. You're right. Sorry. You're right. That was Biden. That was the $6.3 billion was Biden.
You know
That
how
was the
executive
article...
branch works. It wasn't Biden either. It was fucking Congress. They're the ones who literally make laws to spend money.
Yes, I understand how government technically works. The president's the head of it. He can veto it. Did he
That's
veto
why I'm
it?
not telling
No, then
you
he
that
approved
Biden
of it.
wins. That's why I'm not telling you that Biden wins because he signed a bill that gave most aid under his presidency, right? Because that would be fucking stupid.
No, that wouldn't be stupid. That just, again, exposes
It would
your
be fucking
ignorance into
stupid.
how the
Congress
government
wrote
works.
it in a bipartisan way. It's
Do you
not
know what
Biden's
the president's role is when he wins the primary? He becomes the leader of the party. That's one of the roles of the president. This is basic poli-sci 101 you learn in community college.
Fine, I'll use your argument. Most, if not all, the aid was done under Biden. Does that mean that he supports them more?
No, it was bipartisan. The Trump administration was on board with it. In fact, the Biden administration tried to delay it by packing down the aid bill with border pork
Wait,
that had
what?
to be removed. Yeah, the Trump administration...
I thought he was the leader who influences.
Yeah, he put out a bill, and his party tried to make his bill happen, which was coupling immigration to funding for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine. Biden announced
Republicans wanted Israeli aid in that. Yes, there's a lot of different
see
things
that
inside
you're
the bill.
conflating the
That's how bills
timeline.
work.
I have the timeline right here in my notes. Actually, it turns
Timeline
out
of what?
of
All
how
matters is
that
when the bill is
worked.
put in
It
place.
turned out Biden actually made the request for that bill to be drafted months before the Republicans said anything. Biden made that request to couple all these things together. So trying to blame it on the Republicans because Joe Biden made this request.
I'm not
3
blaming
months
it on
later, we
anyone.
just
That's
did.
just how our government works. We do that all the time. That's how you do concessions, though. Because when you go to the bill, okay, you need to have all of it in there so you can get what you want. Or else you'd have 65,000 votes for 65,000 lines.
I understand how representatives work. This is sophistry again.
Clearly, you fucking don't. What are you talking about?
Time. Go ahead and save that for your closings. So I don't see any questions from the judges. I feel like they seem to have heard everything they needed to hear so far in that cross, which was definitely very engaging, gentlemen. I did give you all the extra 5 minutes because it did seem like there were a couple of points that were being pressed that was really interesting, and it was good to see how that went. So that said, we're going to go ahead and roll straight into our closings. Three minutes is on the clock. Tyler, are you ready for your closing, sir? All right, put a cherry on it for us, bud. Go ahead.
All right, so as we saw here, a lot of this was just rejection of the facts. The opening was filled with multiple things that I disproved that the other debater didn't even know existed. We have the Biden administration placating Russia up until basically the time of the war, putting Ukraine, in Ukraine's own words, in a worse place for the war that actually happened. Something they did not say about the Trump phone call, which was something he tried to blame on the Trump phone call that happened 3 years prior. The Trump impeachment had little to nothing to do with the war in the first place. It's just trying to kind of score points for partisanship, I think. I'm surprised the J.D. Vance fight wasn't brought up because that actually had some practical effect on Ukraine on the battlefield. The Eastern Front was shelling. They had to dial back their shelling and lost a little bit of territory due to that delay. But we didn't even hear that argument out of him. So even if you agree with his side of the debate, you can't tell me that performance wasn't flat out like shockingly bad. I could make his argument better than him, and I just gave you the winning argument right there. So on top of that, the ideological argument wasn't even challenged. We know Republicans are the global hegemony guys, the ones that want to win the wars, the ones that want the United States to be the world's police. On an ideological level, the right-wingers are always going to be better than the left-wingers in terms of global hegemony. If you're a peace person, you're generally left-wing. If you're pro-war in the United States, you're generally right-wing. That's just kind of how it pans out. So at the end of the day, Trump's actions during the war, the only time he went against Ukraine on their war effort was after an argument in the White House that was never once brought up. Otherwise, he has had their backs the entire fucking time, whereas Biden was working to try to make Russia happy. We're trying to avert the war, so we're just going to give you this, give you that, tell Ukraine no, not let Ukraine strike into Russian territory for 2.5 years, the critical 2.5 years that the war started, not let Ukraine have the weapons that they were requesting. It wasn't just one missile, it was multiple. Trump's giving them all those weapons. Obama wouldn't even sell them lethal aid. So if you want to argue that Biden was giving them everything they want, look no further than the quotes from Ukraine saying that they need jets, they need defensive missiles, they need all sorts of shit, and Biden saying no the entire way down. The only reason that it was lifted, that they could attack deep into Russia, was because the Trump transition team deemed it so, giving Ukraine the actual chance to win the war that they have today. If Biden was in charge, 100% Ukraine would have lost. Trump backing them is letting them off the cuffs the same way it's letting Israel off the cuffs to go win the war in Gaza, which they have. So at the end of the day, I don't think I heard a single point refuted that I made. I just heard, no, it didn't happen, and did you read the bill? So I think this is an easy dub, but it's up to the judges.
And time. Good stuff. We got 3 minutes on the clock for you, Serica. Serica, time for your closing. You ready, good sir?
Give me 1 second because my stream died really fast.
Yep, I did see that. Yeah, take your time. And by take your time, I mean hurry the fuck up. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not. So let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna push the button when you start talking again. Cue the awkward silence.
Sorry.
You're good.
Outside of all of the weird personal, I didn't bring up the J.D. Vance scenario because I think we just didn't get to it, but I feel like Trump has kind of been off and on, as well as suspended and impounded funds in the past, so I kind of did bring it up already. I just want to end this with saying that I think Biden's record has shown, and after reading this bill that you gave me, the CATSA, it doesn't mean what you think it means, has shown more support for Ukraine. He doesn't consistently give Ukraine a transactional basis. He doesn't ask Zelensky to dig up dirt on an opposing candidate's son in exchange, which creates a lot of confusion. Trump has done all those things. Trump has, and if you read the transcript, I want to bring up a little bit of a metaphor, if you will. Saying that Zelensky, who is on the cusp of losing his country and has to deal with thousands, hundreds of thousands of people dying around him, saying that Zelensky is not going to try his best to make sure that he says good things about Trump because he is president is not really a good argument.
This dude is so dishonest. I'm
you have to think
reading
of
the
it this way.
sanctions bill
Even
now.
though Zelensky
It
said the
did
phone call
not
didn't matter.
remove sanctions from Russia.
If you are
It added
in
them.
a domestic
He's
dispute,
just fucking
let's say
lying.
A girlfriend and a boyfriend are fighting. You call the police, and you punch that girl in front of the police. Do you think they're not going to arrest you? No matter what your says there, you're still going to get arrested, man. So the transcript is out. It doesn't matter what Zelensky says, as well as the investigation afterwards. So maybe you should engage and read a little bit more, which I think you didn't do at all, and try and understand this not from the single point of view of someone who has everything to lose, but probably from the fact that Trump did actually try and extort him. And this dude is losing his country at the same time. I don't know how you can conflate that with support. So I'll just end it there.
Hey, left 45 seconds on the table. That was fiery, gentlemen. It definitely went back and forth. There were some interesting highs and lows. Both of y'all seem to be... I honestly have no idea which direction the fucking judges are going to go with this one. So I'm kind of eager to see.
You're not the only one.
And that's from a judge. So I do have the straw poll one more time for the secondary vote. This is for the who was persuasive in this debate. We want to see. I'm going to go ahead and go back to you, Let's Chief. I know you said you're not sure where you're going to go with this, and I'm just going to put your ass on the spot because yeah, that was a good one. It was indeed. So where did you fall on this, Mr. Let's Chief?
It was a real back and forth for me. I thought Tyler came out really strong at first. Claiming that Biden removed 3 different sanctions. I Googled it. I don't think it's true. But he also, at some point started, self-defeating, saying that Biden, didn't allow aid in, but it was also, before the war started. So it seems like the times that he mentioned were either to not be a provocation, as I think, Sirka was trying to say, versus the other time was, saying that he will remove sanctions as a negotiation in response to, and essentially stopping the invasion. That all seems perfectly reasonable, and not a lack of support. I think Sirka could have done better in some places where, instead of just saying, I think you should read the act, if this is a debate that's being judged, so you need to teach us. So, even in the close, I think you did a little bit better job of circling back to address some of the things in the close. But even I read the act, it doesn't mean what you think it is. Teach us. We need to hear it. So definitely consider that next time. But that said, I feel like the extortion versus support as the final punctuation of the debate, just barely eked it out for me. So at the end, I'm going to give it to Sirka.
Okay. Sirka from Let's Chief. That's 1 vote for you. Mr. Patriot, are you ready with your judgment, sir?
Yeah.
And was it as equally difficult for you?
Pretty much, yeah. I equally saw it, Tyler come out swinging, got some connections, I think got him down in the first round, for sure. Didn't quite finish him though, because he brought up those exact examples that Let's Chief kind of referenced. I looked him up too. I kind of agree with Let's Chief, not quite how was presented, which makes me question anything else that I didn't look up yet as well. Circa does have the little bit of a benefit to where, like, I know about all the impeachment stuff prior, so I don't need to look that up mid-debate. But everything else that he said seems also factually true. So I'll give him the benefit of a doubt on everything else. So yeah, that's kind of how I went on that part of things. As far as the prompt goes, Tyler did reference right in the beginning, the prompt is about who did more for Ukraine, not about anything else really. And then I felt he spent a little bit too much time on trying to equivocate like 100% loyalty and always saying yes to an ally with like being on prompt, I guess. I don't know about that part. And then how he goes into like sophistry and bad faith tactics feels a little slimy. And then on the actual prompt side of things, Circa actually addressed the actual aid presented, where Tyler, I felt, more defended the aid that Trump actually cut and tried to reference the aid that Biden tried to waive, I guess, which doesn't seem like referencing reality.
Okay, so the final vote was?
Circa, obviously.
It's for Circa. Okay, just wanted to make sure and hear that one. So, all 3 times the judges agreed with each other. Damn, that's new. So, looks like Circa gets the win on that one. Before we go to the audience, for all 3 times, the audience votes didn't actually matter, but I still am looking forward to seeing how it swayed. I'm going to put my 2 cents worth in there. I agree exactly with everything they said. Tyler, dude, you came out swinging, and I was super stoked. Like I was getting like jittery over here because you were bringing the fire. The thing that you had said. Well, first of all, Circa, actually, I wanted to let you know, in case you didn't know, you're having some mic issues. I don't know if everybody else is catching that, but like there's sometimes where your mic comes across crunchy. It doesn't actually matter for like the debate, except that there were a couple of times where I missed a word that you started with. It only seemed to happen sometimes, and only almost like it sounded like a bad wire or a
like
loose
static
plug.
Yeah,
it's like weird static.
It wasn't static. It was almost like digital
weird compression.
interference.
Yeah, it was like
in
crunchy.
my
Yeah, like
opinion.
it was
Yeah.
weird. So,
Oh, maybe,
but anyway, I just
maybe
want to let you
my
know.
stream fell, right?
No,
Could be having
well,
an issue.
actually, okay, it hasn't happened since you restarted your stream. So yeah, it might have been related to that. I don't know.
I stopped streaming YouTube. That might help.
Word.
Well, I was doing
So
multi-streaming.
yeah, and yeah, our PCs are only human. So to back to you, Tyler. The thing that you did there at the beginning, where you were like, if he's holding back Ukraine from attacking Russia so as to not provoke Russia, is he not thereby not like pandering to Russia to some degree? I really liked the way that you did that. But then it seemed like Circa, he posed back to you with the whole limited engagement or limited provocation. Like, I didn't feel like you came back on that. But I also thought, and I think that the judges kind of hit this on the home, where you cited a reference that you had only read about like in another article, right? Which as a debater, you like that honestly shocked me to hear that you weren't able to like quote fucking chapter and verse of what it was in those documents that supported your claim, that you were just going based on articles about those documents. That just surprised me from you. Again, it doesn't really matter, my opinion, but that was a tough one. I wouldn't have wanted to be a judge, but I think I probably would have had to have sided with the judges just because of that last part. Let's see what the audience thought, though. We're going to go ahead and go to, first of all, okay, we got 85% is on the yes. 85% agreed with Tyler for the after the vote. And let's go back and see what the first one was. 85. No, not create a poll, dumbass. Click the right thing, fucker. Thank you. Trump administration. This one, it was 85 this time, and 70% for the no in the first. So yes, actually won from the audience vote. Weird. All 3 debates tonight. The judges agreed, and the audience disagreed with the judges. So that's cool. you can at least know, Tyler, that you persuaded the audience and the will of the people is on your side. So fucking great job tonight, gentlemen. I enjoyed the fuck out of this. This was, I think, despite that earlier debacle at the beginning, I feel like this was possibly some of the best debates we've had yet, or at least as far as the 1v1s go. So everybody who participated tonight, thank you guys. I appreciate the hell out of y'all as always. And we're just going to go ahead and open this up. As always, anybody who needs to go, I understand. Go ahead and dip out. Anybody who's out there in the chat who just wants to get in here and fucking give us your 2 cents, as long as you've been in the Discord channel before and I know who you are, or if somebody in this Discord can say, yeah, that dude's the shit, go ahead and jump on into any Discord channel, or any chat that you see, and I'll drag you on up in here. As long as you don't like pull your dick out on camera or anything, then you're going to be pals with us. So that said, I'm going to put a little bit of time on the clock for us to bullshit tonight. Circa and Tyler, do you guys feel like you were able to clear a little bit of the air there, or do you feel like that just kind of made y'all angrier at each other?
No, I still got met with the same dishonesty. I mean, I don't have anything against the dude. I just don't. I got met with the same dishonesty that didn't happen. Saying that a sanctions bill actually took away sanctions from Russia is just completely untrue. It just, I don't know. I just find
I
it
do have one question though, man. The CATSA, I went a little deeper as he was talking. Biden has never delayed or lifted sanctions for Russia with this. In fact, he even increased its ability to.
I'm looking for the citation in my document now.
Yeah, I was about to say, so the judges actually said something to you, Tyler, about something that they fact-checked you and weren't sure about. Yeah, I'd like to know what the actual truth of that was.
I'm going to pull it out.
He did delay it to India.
I'd love to see that.
He delayed some sanction relief to India, but not Russia. In fact, he's only ever used it to impose stricter sanctions on Russia. So I don't
and the sanctions in India was suggested by the GOP.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's mainly because of a missile system, right? Is that, I don't know. I don't have it up anymore, but from Russia.
Yeah, well, again, like I said, you actually, the reason I was interested in hearing you guys debate this was because I hadn't considered it until you mentioned the conversation, Tyler. And to be clear, Circa, like I said, Tyler didn't ask for this. I asked for this. This wasn't like a grudge match between y'all. This was a grudge match because I wanted to hear the actual arguments being made. But whenever you said something about it, Tyler, I was like, I hadn't considered it, but my gut was, oh, fuck, maybe he's right, because Trump has been more aggressive towards Russia. He has not seemed to be as limiting towards Ukraine insofar as like their strikes and their tactics and such. But if what you're saying isn't true in regards to the sanctions being lifted or whatever, then I mean that kind of does disempower the whole thing. And ultimately,
what were the other two
I thought that
you said 3 total, right? Sorry, you said
it was a
3.
2019 sanction as well. I'm trying to find. It's in a citation from. I'm looking.
How did Biden lift in 2019?
It was a 2019 was when the
it was a 2019
passed.
sanction. So, and that was kind of interesting too in the debate where you guys kind of got muddled in the like what year was which and what. It was kind of difficult for the I think audience and the rest of us stoners in the world to follow and track exactly where, because y'all were like building a timeline, but we couldn't really see the timeline. So, and you kind of kept moving the goalposts on the timeline, so it was just really confusing.
Someone at one point said Biden was VP in 2016. I thought I was having a stroke.
I think I conflated. I think he was actually right to call me out on that one. I think I conflated 2 different things here.
No, I said Biden was VP then.
It looks like the only sanction that was truly waived and not just negotiated about was the Nord Stream pipeline. The rest were just brought up in negotiations. So I did overstate that. They only waived 1 sanction. The rest were just offers that never made it to the table. So that was my bad for over-conflating and overstating that. So you were right to call me out on that.
That's an EU sanction too, isn't it?
No.
The Nord Stream is so they can give gas.
That was the other thing.
Right?
Was the EU thing. You had said something about that.
Yeah,
what was the truth on that?
Well, Trump put something through in his first term where he disallowed them from having that, and Biden got rid of that. It was waived a U.S. sanction on the construction of the Russian Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The Biden administration.
So that was on behalf of the European Union because, if I'm not mistaken, they had serious issues with energy.
Yeah,
right?
at that point they were getting about 40% of their natural gas from Russia. At that point, yeah, and now it's down to I think
mainly like an EU sanction, correct?
Well, yeah, but we controlled them even building it. We signed off on that, and Trump stopped it. So we were asserting
don't
our
control
authority.
them. That's assuming a
We
lot.
do. We assert that was what it was. I'm not. You can argue it all you want. Trump passed it. Biden waived it.
Trump left NATO, right, in his first term, right?
No.
I was going to say, yeah, and Trump didn't actually leave NATO.
Trump
did he?
strengthened NATO in his first
Did.
term.
He
No,
left
he never,
NATO in his
no,
first
he
term.
never left
In his
NATO.
first term.
Yeah, no, we never left. He threatened, I think, once or twice, and he claimed that he didn't agree with us being in NATO. But yeah, as far as I know, we've never left NATO. That would
Maybe
have been
stopped paying.
Trump has never.
yeah,
left
or
NATO.
he was saying that like if the European Union doesn't start paying their share, we're going to leave NATO. Or why are we the only ones paying? And,
Yeah.
say that again.
They had to use the House to block it. Like Trump literally left NATO, and the House had to essentially vote against him. But he did withdraw
see.
from NATO.
I don't. I don't
The
see
House
that.
is what kept us in.
What was the date on that? That vote happened.
Yeah, do you have any links or any
I'm pretty sure
citations?
it left in,
Anything
like
Yeah,
December, or no, not in December, but when the fuck was it? It was like right after he fucking won, like 2017 in March or April. But I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
the House had to vote against it.
He was pressuring the other countries in NATO to pay. But yeah, no. Again, like I said, if you can find a link or anything, any articles or anything, I would love that. So
I mean, I can give you the House vote from what is it?
It was a House vote to
357
block, or
Yeah.
it was like they voted on whether they should leave or not.
I think Mike Lee introduced a bill to leave NATO, I think, but not.
But that wasn't
Trump.
Trump. Yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't
no.
just arbitrarily do it.
Trump has never
I don't even think Trump passed a
started
single house.
taking a single action to start the former process to withdraw the U.S. from NATO. The first time he even said it was reportedly 2018. He told the senior private staff
taking a
administrator.
single formal process.
It comes from it came from an unnamed source in 2018. Was the first time he said he would consider leaving it. When he was asked about it in August of 2018, he has never once lifted a finger to attempt to leave NATO.
Yeah. Now, I mean, not to bolster Trump in any way, because I mean, you could just drop that under taco, right? Like, oh look, Trump made a threat that he didn't follow through on, huzzah! But yeah, I don't think that he would have the power to just arbitrarily leave NATO, even if he did want to, right? Like, would he? Excuse me. DPP.
I'm pretty sure the National Defense Authorization Act prevented him from leaving. Like he wanted to leave, and then you have to have 2/3 majority of Congress to do that, because it's a.
So basically, you're saying that he persuaded the congressperson to put it on the floor, but once again, that's still. I mean, that's still a few steps away from he left NATO. As opposed to he had one of his proxy henchmen put it on the floor to vote and it got batted down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's definitely kind of that's a different characterization of the thing.
Yeah, being caught in that falling off.
I mean, fortunately, sorry, we have
guardrail.
guardrails, I guess, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
there
he
you go,
said I'm
exactly.
leaving, right? I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
look into
once
it. I
again,
could be wrong.
well, and that brings us to put it on the floor to vote, which is kind of what I was just saying. What Trump says he's doing and or gonna do. I mean, shit in one hand and have Trump vote, or Trump tell you what he's going to do in the other. See which one's going to weigh more. I mean, he doesn't really follow through on most of his shit. He just throws things out there to see how people react. Like he says that he does that. Like it is known. So
That's not good at all.
yeah, no, it's not good. Exactly. Like,
No, that's
it's
perfectly
terrible.
normal. That's how. Remember under the Obama administration when they wheeled Biden out to talk about gay marriage, and that was like the bellwether of whether or not they should pursue some sort of agenda. It wasn't popular in polling prior to that. Biden got a good reception, then the Obama administration went from being
Pretty sure
anti-gay
gay
marriage to
marriage was
pro-gay marriage.
extremely popular in 2008. What are you talking about?
Yeah, first of all, I don't remember.
Obama got
that.
elected
Second of all,
anti-gay marriage.
He did what?
Obama got elected in 2008 on the stance of not being
Pretty sure in
pro-gay marriage.
2008, 2007, gay marriage was a very popular topic.
Okay,
and
well-
sweeping like a bunch of states.
Yeah, no,
ratified it.
that surprises me for a progressive or a supposedly progressive president. Which I mean, again, we could argue about how progressive Obama actually turned out to
I
be.
mean, his policy
but
has
I-
been pretty okay for it since then, right? I don't think Obama has ever made policy.
Pretty sure Tyler's right though.
He was 100%
Is he?
against it
Okay.
until Joe Biden came
Huh.
out and made a comment about gay marriage. I think on a news show. I don't remember exactly where he made the comment. He did the same thing with a gun policy.
That's
With
what I mean.
he
I
was
wouldn't say
saying-
100% against.
Yeah,
I think the exact was like, I believe marriage is man and woman, not that he's against gay
So
marriage.
what is the problem? He changed his mind. It's good. I don't know. Is that
Sure, but
as
the
radical
idea
as
that Trump is
fucking-
Trump. I think the point he's trying to make, Circa, is that Trump is not the
doing
first
something.
president to talk one thing and or say things to see
No,
how the public's
yeah,
going to
yeah,
react
test-
before he actually does it.
Send out a bellwether, essentially, is how it's phrased. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. And I
don't
understand
think
you're
Obama-
probably right,
I don't
but
think
I
these are
definitely don't think
analogous
there's.
anyway.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that there's any president in history who's done it as much as Trump.
Oh,
That's just my
no.
inclination.
Or as
I didn't
brash.
fact check that, but yeah.
We know.
That
So,
Gaza
I mean,
plan, that was super brash
I
when he
do,
came
I
out and
do know
announced
that,
that.
like, you know, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson very much fucking said gnarly stuff about each other.
about
in
each
the
other,
papers.
sure, but that's not. But we're talking about like saying crazy ass shit to see how the audio or to see how the public is going to react before actually making policy decisions. Like that's kind of what Trump does. But I think that we didn't have the real time reaction that we do in the social media world, right? Like we live in a time now where a president can do what Trump does, where he says some off the cuff shit and then can look in real time at how many fucking likes he gets, right? Like we've never had that real time feedback loop. So I don't think there's ever been a president who was as
A
notorious
degradation
for
of
it.
political decorum, right? In my personal opinion, it's kind of like a fundamental thing of fascism. So this is the degradation or
Also-
populist agenda. You could be communist too.
It is, but I could also make an argument, Circa, that it's a better representation of the will of the people if what I just said is true. Where in real
correct.
time
No,
we
it
get
is.
to see the
It
public's
is.
actual reaction.
You're correct.
Also,
So,
just to
I
the
mean,
point
100% correct.
about gay marriage
But the world of
popularity.
people can turn into fascism.
Mob rule, 1,000%.
Gay marriage popularity had never been above 42%. It looks, oh no, it hit 46 once under Bush, but under Obama, it had never been over 40% until 2012
I
when
said
they
at
started
the
pushing
time in
for it.
2008, it was very
It was,
popular. as
it
a
wasn't. It was
topic.
56 against, 40% for.
No,
It
not
was-
popular like to vote for. I mean, like the idea of gay marriage, its height of popularity is and like being talked about was 2008.
I don't understand what that has to do with.
Not like whether
They had the most
Conversation.
popularity then.
As in, like the
Yeah,
conversation.
Actually,
about gay
yeah,
marriage was
between like then
most
and like
prevalent in
2015,
2008.
16.
I very much remember because a bunch of states did pass gay marriage, so it became a national topic.
There were 3 states that had gay marriage passed in 2008.
California, I think, was one of them, right?
I think Massachusetts was one as well. Only 3 states had
California
passed
has
it
a lot
at
of people in
40%
it.
approval, so it wasn't that popular of a topic. That's why he sent Biden out as a bellwether to test the waters on this. When they found out it was popular, Democratic approval for gay marriage went through the roof, and we saw a 10-point spike in the approval of gay marriage year over year from 2010 to 2011.
Electoral approval isn't always the same as like popular approval. though.
Search interest for gay marriage saw major spikes in 04, 08, and 2015
Okay,
because
so-
California
Okay.
legalized it. So it was a major fucking trend at that time. So
Still, could have been a major trend, but the public disapproved of it.
I know. I'm just saying it was a big topic at the time. So
Talking point, yeah.
it wouldn't be
so,
uncommon
like-
for Obama to like have an opinion or
Yeah.
I don't. I
Well,
just don't
but
get what
Tyler's
opinion is.
saying that it wasn't that Obama did. He's saying that they trotted out VP Biden to discuss it to test the waters. Basically,
Yeah.
that's what Tyler's getting at.
Trump has taken this to a whole different level, though. When he's testing out the waters, he's not doing it with the United States population. With that Gaza plan, he went out and tested out what fucking Arab countries would say to his Gaza. Yeah, other nations would say to his Gaza plan. And when he got pushback for a couple parts of his initial Gaza plan, he immediately went back and changed it, pretend like it was that way the whole time, and now we're moving forward with the revised plan.
How come
Which
he's
is
so much
arguably
credit
even more
for his,
disingenuous,
like,
but true.
his like ability to actually think about these things deeply. What part of Trump's rhetoric or any evidential fucking post or anything he says and does gives this level of just complexity? I don't get it.
The results?
Are y'all still
The
debating?
results are awful, man.
No.
No, we're just having a
kinda-
conversation
yeah.
now.
Hey,
Jumping
hey,
on
hey,
to-
Radish, you want to see the
Yes,
two
sir.
giants? Let me show y'all something.
Dude, if you pull your
Let me
tits
show
out,
y'all
I'm
something.
done.
Whoa,
Oh.
whoa, whoa.
Inflation for a second.
Look.
Okay,
So,
results. Inflation.
It's right here. It's right here, cuz. Now, I'm 6'5", as y'all know. And
Don't kick the food, man.
You're 6'5",
Oh,
damn, bro.
Yeah.
look,
Nice.
look at this. This dude
He's so tall he can't stand up with his headphones on. The wire's too short.
The camera's here. Hold up. Let me fix
Don't
this.
tell who big cousins.
Like, all right,
There you go.
Right.
Is that a Marvel
I
sweater
think this
too?
shows.
Nice.
I think this shows what I'm talking about.
It looks like it glows in the
So-
dark.
Do y'all see
My
this?
dude is wearing a Captain America
I can
coat,
hear,
and
but-
that makes me love him even more. Give him a fist bump for me. You didn't hear a word we were
What?
just saying, were you?
No,
we were
I did
We were
not.
talking so much to you, and not a word of it came through.
I
But
just
but
wanna-
yeah,
I
give
wanna
him, give him
ask-
props
We
for
were
his coat.
all talking about how you were defeated by your tonsils today.
They give you
They're not even
I
there
want to
anymore.
ask Average, okay, about results for a second. So, like, let's just talk about the economy or inflation and tariffs for just hopefully a quick second.
You know
So
what?
how
Matter
do you
of
think
fact,
Donald Trump's results
here,
post
we
hoc
can do this.
make what he
Let's
does
see.
complex and like
My,
actually good?
Well, we are in the middle of the trade war still. He just negotiated a trade deal like 2 days ago, so we don't actually have the results
Whoa,
yet.
whoa, 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 whoa! Did you
But-
say we're in a trade war?
Yes.
I thought we were promised no new fucking wars, dude.
Different context of war, yeah. The war on drugs isn't actually a real war, yeah. But no, we're in a trade war. But if you look at inflation in the
Don't
last
let the people
7
that get
months that
shot.
Trump's been in office, if you add those 7 months together, compare them to the previous 7 months, inflation's slowing, wages are going up at higher rates. Like, you could say inflation, but it's a binary choice.
I have no idea how.
I have the September CPI
Didn't they
numbers
fire
pulled
the
up
people
right in
who
front of
Inflation
me
was
now.
high in 2022.
That's right. They did
and
fire the
in
people who compiled those
2023.
numbers.
I'm talking about it's
No,
down
they
from the
didn't fire
last
them,
7
no.
months of 2024. I'm not
That's not
talking
how the
about
BLS
2022 and 3. I'm looking at
She
the
doesn't
numbers right now.
handle for inflation of what year? You said 7 months.
I'm looking at
before
the
Trump took
CPI
office?
poll reports pulled up. Yes, if you compare the 7 months before Trump took
You
office
think
to
the
the
7
7
months
months he's in
before,
office,
when inflation was dropping consistently? Because, I mean,
well, if you want to look
big
at the
spending
results of
fucking
Trump and
happening.
inflation, you have to look at also the binary choice we make. If you look at inflation or economy, the GOP, Trump in particular, is like, what, 10 to 12 points higher than Democrats and whoever they pick as a representative to be the stewards of the economy. If you go issue by issue,
don't care what the average person thinks about the economy. Are you kidding me?
so
Most
you're going
people
off of
have
your
no idea how
arbitrary
the
what
economy-
you like is good and bad. I don't
I-
like
I
this, so
studied
it's bad.
econometrics.
Ignore
So
the
I
ignore
know
the
how-
polls, ignore what people say. Just I don't like it. It's icky.
That does
Does the
sound kind of
deficit
fascist.
increase inflation?
How long does an inflationary effect take from an inflationary action on average?
I don't fucking know off the top of my head. Depends on what the action
Yeah,
is.
so
This is why I
real
don't
quick-
listen
real
to the
quick,
average
Circa.
voter about economies.
Right. Real quick,
Oh.
Circa. Please answer DPP on his question.
Yeah,
Ask
how
it
does
again,
the
DPP.
deficit affect inflation?
How does what?
How does
The
the
deficit.
national deficit affect our inflation?
Spending absolutely affects inflation. 100%.
Okay, so how Tyler was saying how Democrats were worse off. So
Sorry, I have to ask you,
Republicans
do you know
historically are
what
worse
years
off with
we spent the most money under and added to the
Oh,
deficit
Republicans.
with?
100% Republicans.
No, it was just Trump's last 2 years. Okay.
Yeah, it was COVID.
yeah.
If you want to look, it wasn't just
No.
COVID. I'm
It was
sorry, it was
COVID.
not just COVID. COVID's stimulus package only accounted for
When
about
did COVID end?
$400 billion, which is a lot, but fucking Trump's stupid ass PPP loan program that was completely defrauded and forgave up to $900 billion, almost $1 trillion, is why we had a 3.126 fucking trillion deficit in 2020 and 2021. It was like 2.97 in that year.
Whoa!
And presidents
During the debate, when Congress passed something under Biden, it wasn't Biden's fault or his administration's fault, but now as soon as Congress, bipartisanly, with most of Congress on both sides, passes something under Trump, it's his program, he has to own it, and he's at fault for
What the
it.
fuck are you even talking? Do you know?
You're
do you
double
have any idea
standard.
how we create
So
money?
he's
There's no
talking
double
about
standard.
during the
You just have
debate.
no idea how we create money in this country. How do we create money in this country?
I wasn't
He was
talking
talking about
money.
during the debate. He was talking about during
Talking
the
about
debate.
spending,
whenever
so
we
yes,
were
we're
talking about something that
creating money,
Congress
creating
did.
debt.
We were talking earlier in the debate, what he's referencing, because I actually I did write this down in my notes. The prompt was about the Trump administration versus the Biden administration, which does include the entire government during that period, right? Like we would refer to the Congress
talking
under
about
the Trump
spending.
administration
Yes, you're correct.
as Trump's
Except
Congress,
the PPP loan
right?
program was a designed executive program, not a legislative one. So that wouldn't work. Sorry.
Okay. So I thought you said earlier that it's the or that
I
it's
wanna-
the
I
legislative who
need to
decides
ask
where the
you something.
spending goes, not the executive.
Correct.
which is it?
But this program was not an appropriated fund from the legislative.
The
branch. It
PPP
wasn't
was
from
written
Congress.
by
It was
Ben
the
Cardin,
Democrats.
Susan Collins, Jaheen Shahid, and Marco Rubio. It was part of the CARES Act of 2020. It was written by Congress.
Those all
passed
sound
through
like Congress people's
Yeah,
names.
it was passed through Congress, written by Congress. It was a congressional plan, and almost everybody on both sides of Congress voted for it bipartisanly. So now it's Trump's stupid policy. But when,
It is his
during
stupid
this,
policy. He
Trump was
directed
actually
quite a lot
saying,
of how
we
it
don't
would
want to
be.
shut down, we don't want to do an eviction moratorium, we don't want to suspend this, we want to let states open up. And he was being called pro-genocide. Remember when Georgia opened up? It was called an experiment on human sacrifice.
No, stop talking. The PPP loans, do you know who investigates the fraud and abuse related to the PPP loan program?
Not specifically.
Which section of government?
Probably the
It's going
executive
to be
branch.
the SBA, in the Office of Inspector General, the
Yeah.
SBA. Now, who actually directs the SBA to do that?
The administration that's in charge.
The executive branch. So yes, Trump literally said, we're not going to do anything about the fraud that is inside this program. He helped design it. He helped the fraud happen.
Okay.
Why are you laughing?
That's stupid logic because he didn't write it. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans in Congress wrote it. Congress passed it, and now you're saying it's Trump's plan.
It is. He very much
But
had
in
a
the
heavy
debate,
hand in
you made
creating
the
that plan.
exact
That is a fact.
opposite argument.
It's not the exact opposite, no.
You did. You said because Congress passed something, we can't blame one administration or credit one administration for it. It was Congress that did that. Now Congress passes something with 98 to 0 votes, and it's
I have
all
to ask.
Trump's.
Do we actually look at what Trump says during these years, or you just like never look at what he says?
I ignore most of Trump's rhetoric. I look at his
Yeah,
actions.
we kind of established that what he says is very, very, very low meaning. So
I'm a big
like,
believer
it's
that
what he
when people
does
say
that
things,
actually
you need to
matters.
listen to them when they tell you who they are.
Sure.
you need to listen to them. So I
Oh,
don't
I
just,
agree
like,
with that.
Credit that, right?
But on the
So, like,
same
Trump
token, he
has
says a lot of
taken-
shit that never comes to pass, right?
He has claimed responsibility for it.
Right, but he
himself.
says a lot of shit that never comes to pass. That's what I'm getting at. And he claims responsibility for shit that he has nothing to fucking do with. Both of those are true about Trump. Is that not true?
Except the administration had a big role in it, because what they did was they were responsible for the implementation and the administration of the program under the SBA as well, not just the investigation of the fraud and everything else. So yes, he participated in the very idea and essentially made it so it was corruptible. So Congress passes a bill, the SBA then puts how it's going to be implemented, and Trump designed it to be defrauded. That's how it works.
And do you have any proof?
Real
that
quick,
Trump
before you
specifically did
come back real quick, I got to race like a piss horse. Doomer and Chief, if I can get the two of y'all just to make sure that nothing goes off the rails while I'm away, I appreciate you, gentlemen. I'm going to leave it going, but I will BRB literally a minute and a half to 2 minutes. You can time me.
I mean, it was passed in Congress, but you do know that the SBA did handle the implementation and how the loans went out, right? And he designed it to be defrauded.
What are we talking about right now? What loans?
We're talking about the PPP loan
loans.
program, which amounted to $1 trillion in fucking forgiven loans, which became grants, I guess, which is an absurd amount of money. And it went to
Under
payroll
who?
protection. What do you mean
Trump.
under who? It was under
Didn't, like,
Trump.
right before he left office, the SBA like removed all the fraud flags from anything.
Yeah, he literally did, he set it up in a way where no one could actually. You know how hard it is to actually prove fraud in payroll?
Yeah, remember that scam?
It's fucking impossible. Like, he designed it in a way that people could
And I didn't
straight up
explain it. I
defraud
was
it.
too busy being
You're a business owner.
14 at the time.
You just said that you had payroll and you
All the
just
free
took
money
out
was taxed when I was
$1.5 million
there.
in
Crazy how that
PPP loan,
worked.
and then it was forgiven. This is why the price of assets went up so much in 2020, because the people who already have a lot of money and can buy assets got gifted $1 trillion. It's an absurd amount of money.
So what was thrown away? There were 2.7 million flags that were thrown away. I think the dude to my right here brought that up. Most of those flags were just put on automatically for any loan over a certain amount of money. That doesn't necessarily mean anything was wrong, any wrongdoing happened, or anything like that. They were just a certain amount of money goes out. We're going to have to check you. The Trump administration waived a lot of those. Yes, most of them. After
Dude, he was in charge of making sure the plan could even have a way to even investigate.
A flagged loan does not necessarily indicate fraud, especially when it's automatically applied. All they were flagged for was further investigation. There was no wrongdoing proven at all.
Yeah, I know. That I'm aware.
So when that fraud takes place, that then can get investigated, and it has been, yes?
Do you know what money supply is?
Oh
I know it
God.
seems like I'm going on a tangent. No, just answer the question.
Yes,
Do you know what M1 is and M2?
Yes, I know what M1 and
Okay,
M2
so I want you to go to St. Louis Federal Bank Reserve right now. Type in M1 and go to 2020 and ask me if that's a normal amount of money that's, even with COVID added in there, there's no fucking reason that much money needed to be paid for payroll.
I agree.
Basic math.
You know who else agreed with you at the time was the Trump administration, who was trying not to shut down.
Fraud proven because Trump designed it in a way that there was no fraud.
Trump didn't design
let's
it.
not be stupid.
Trump didn't write it.
He
it was
did.
written by congressmen.
He was tasked with doing the implementation and the investigative part of it. So how did
Congress writes the laws?
Who would qualify?
Congress writes the laws.
Congress writes
So real
the
quick.
act. It's handled by the SBA.
Yes.
I'm gonna jump in there. This has been fun to listen to. I gotta note though that last time it turned into the Circa v. Ancom after party. This time it's turning into the Circa v. Tyler after party. I think there's a common thread there. But I'm just saying. I just want to say cheers, everybody. I stayed way too sober tonight, and I've got a little something here. If you got it, put it in you. So. Keep and what is that noise, Leafy? Is there? They are fucking wilding out, aren't they?
There's a party in the backyard and they're watching the baseball game on a projector in the back.
Who the fuck cheers that loud at a baseball game, man?
Isn't it Game 7 or something?
Yeah, it's Game 7 and we can't lose to Canada.
Canada plays in baseball?
Toronto apparently has a team.
I had no.
Like
why are
how
they?
People couldn't like how currently people can't vote in jail or in prison. They're changing things.
If they're up there, are they like the Super Yankees?
I mean, they get good shit. I guess the MLB is not inherently American, is it? I never thought about that, but yeah. So are there any other countries that play in the Is there a Mexican team for the MLB?
It's bedtime for me though.
Tyler, I appreciate you as always, good sir. And you will, even if you did lose tonight, it was a close loss, and I know you're going to lick your wounds and come back even madder than hell.
And I'm going to bring Monte next time so I can argue from the left for once.
I think you have a lot of wit.
Word.
You're pretty crafty.
Yeah, no, it was a great debate. So
Not a bad faith.
No, I appreciate it. I'm being a little mean because I'm still salty, but because you called me a liar and couldn't back it up with any verified claims. So once that apology comes through, it'll be cool.
But then the judges agreed.
Say you lied.
You misrepresented.
Hey,
fact.
I looked. I admitted that I was wrong about that. I conflated two different points. I admitted it. I was wrong about that one specific thing.
Maybe not lying, just wrong. How about that?
I asked for proof and revalidation, so once my apology arrives, we'll be cool. All right, take it easy. I lost, yeah. I got judge fucked. It was about a war, and his only good point was 3 years